You didn't quit. You're really like against all odds. You're doing something that no one in the family's done, that none of your friends have done.
I'm just gonna say the thing you're not supposed to say.
Whatever is mine is looking for me.
You have to know what road to take to get to your final destination.
Everything that you ever wanted is on the other side of fear.
Hello, how are you doing? I've been a little MIA because YouTube been giving me a hard time, y'all. YouTube flagged my live Bryant video. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? And they flagged it for my intro song that I have a license for to use. Why do I feel like I'm being targeted lately? I don't know. I don't understand what's going on. Hey, first it was the K Michelle thing. Now it's this. It's just like, damn. So you may be seeing me post more on my Patreon because I just need a break. I need a break. Especially when you be so excited to share the video that you created and then you get blocked. It's just so annoying. They still haven't approved my Rihanna video. I'm waiting on that approval. The situation with K Michelle wasn't because I didn't get approved by YouTube. It was because she threatened to sue me, and I don't want those problems. I don't be in my ego when it comes to these celebrities and content creating. It's not that serious. So I took the video down. So I got the approval for the K Michelle video, but she seems like she would actually sue me. So I'm like, yeah, I ain't playing them games. So let's get into this reaction. Let's get into this reaction. Please give this video a thumbs up. Please, can y'all interact with the content? Please help a sister out because I'm being blocked. Can you just like, share, put a comment in the comment section? Just help me out in some type of way because I'm really struggling. I wanted to talk about the Heather Sanders. Have you been seeing that? Because I've been seeing it. And I'm waiting for her ex-friend to drop that story time because I know that story time. Ooh, I'm gonna be set for that story time. I don't know if you're keeping up with the ex-friend on TikTok, but I remember when she used to work for her, and I'm like, I know you got a story to tell. Tell your story, sis. I'm all up in the comments saying, tell your story, sis. So let me know. I'm trying to do the Heather Sanders video too, but I'm kind of on pause about posting anything to YouTube because everything just keeps getting blocked. I don't understand. So hopefully this don't get blocked. We'll see. I'm going in and out. Let me see what's going on. See what's going on. What's going on? Is okay, are we good? Are we good? Thank you, Panda. That is so sweet. I went and played it back. It seems like it was fine on my end. It may be you. It may be you. So let me know. Okay, we're good. Okay, so hopefully you've seen my Dr. Doolittle Bryant video. I wanted to react to this podcast that she did with Kayla, and I wanted to see if some of the things that I spoke about in my breakdown is gonna actually pop up in this podcast episode. So let's get into it. Let me pull up the episode. And she titled this Life Coach. And why is she still putting it's so funny she put life coach in the front. Life coach Dr. Cheyenne Bryant on new book Abandonment and Accountability in Relationships. I have not watched this, so I don't know what's going on. I just used this video clip for my breakdown video just to use it, but I haven't watched it yet. So we're going to see what it's about. She put this disclaimer in the front that this episode was filmed prior to recent public conversations surrounding Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. During the conversation, Dr. Bryant describes herself as a life coach and a psychology expert. The episode is intended for conversational and entertainment purposes only. We appreciate open dialogue on the pregame and always encourage our audience to seek guidance from licensed professionals for mental health support and care when needed. Why is she still referring to this lady as Dr. Bryant? This is
Too
crazy.
many people are codependent on their lean.
And I meant to say, you know what? First, hold up, slow down. Hold on. Let me slow down.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
So I have some reactive thoughts first. Let me get into my reactive thoughts before we get into this. So my reactive thoughts is this lady is crazy, allegedly, but she crazy as hell. I think out of everybody I done seen come online, she is the craziest cuckoo lady I think I've ever bumped into. Cause like, think about it, right? Like, walk with me, right? Cause as I was doing this deep dive, I'm like, lady, you gotta be cuckoo to really think that you could go on all of these different podcasts, you could go on all of these different networks, and you can go and do these interviews in sessions, her sessions, and refer to yourself as a doctor, go up against licensed professionals. Like there's a personality disorder there, I think, right? Because this takes a lot of boldness. Am I the only one that thinks like it's kind of crazy? It's a level of personality disorder. She need to be on that lady's couch, somebody's couch, because I'm just like, you got to be a special kind of person to think that you could pull something off like this. And then this is another thing too, because there were people in my comments defending her, and I'm just like, what are you defending? She could just call herself a life coach and call it a day, a mentor and call it a day. That's all she got to do is just call herself a life coach and a mentor. Why is that important? It's important. It's important so people understand what they're getting themselves into when wanting to work with her or seek her out for services. And then this is another thing that I don't understand, because I see people compared to other people. This is what be irritating me too, is people are like, well, what about Trump and what about Jeffrey Epstein and all of this? What about them? What about them? Why do y'all bring up people that are just as dead ass wrong and use that as like some type of excuse or as some type of bypassing from accountability? Why are we doing that? Why are we doing that? Why are we wanting to become the very people that inflict harm on others? Why are we comparing oranges to apples? Why are we doing that? Why do black people only want to live up to the standards of fucked up white people? I want to know that. Yep, I said it. Why? Why is that the standard for some of y'all? That shit weird as fuck. It's weird. Y'all love the reference, the fucked up things that white people be out here doing and be like, well, that's the measurement. That's the standard I'm reaching for, which is low. Why do you want to be like them so fucking bad? I don't understand. Some of them, like, and then that's another thing. It's like, I saw that video of the courthouse in, was it Memphis, Tennessee? I think it was Memphis, Tennessee. And it was this overweight white male, this overweight white woman leaning in the doorway of the courthouse, laughing, smiling, with this sinister look on their face. You want to be like that? You want to be like them? If I could find the video, I'll pull up the video. But I'm like, that's what you want to achieve. That's your standard. We don't even serve the same God, because ain't no way we serve the same God. We can't serve the same God. They over there laughing and having this sinister, evil, malicious look on their face. Like, we can't even serve the same God. Why the fuck would I want to be like them? That's weird. So please stop using that as an excuse, as some type of bypassing, just because somebody else was able to get away with some shit. But your ass didn't, though. And that's the thing. Most people look at others and they see what they can get away with, and then they think, oh, I can get away with it too. But your ass didn't get away with it. There are consequences for some people, and you may be one of those people. So as soon as you start bringing up Trump and Epstein and all of that, make sure you have their money. Make sure you have their privilege. Make sure you have those things before you try to run out and do some shit that they did. I don't make up the rules. Don't be stupid. So listen, this lady may be facing some jail time, some serious jail time. You think Trump gonna bail her out of that? I don't get it. I don't get it. Then another thing too, the reason why I spoke on Cheyenne Bryant was because she spoke on us. That lady don't speak for me. She speak for you. She don't speak for me. Who told her she was a spokesperson for Black women? She inserted herself in that way, but no one said that she was a spokesperson for Black women. She can't speak for me. Nobody can speak for me. So I decided to speak for myself. I made a video. Because who in the hell told her that she was out here speaking for us? And then going into the most toxic spaces, toxic Black male spaces that my Black ass would never be caught dead in, speaking for me. She could never speak for me. That's crazy. So no, I said what I said. She's weird. This whole situation is weird. She's insecure about the fact that I don't even think she has a bachelor's degree. I don't even think this lady has a bachelor's degree. She's very insecure about how she is not licensed. It doesn't seem like she has a formal education, which is important because that is how she positioned herself to the public. And she didn't have to do that. She did not have to present herself like she was this doctor. She could have just said life coach. She could have said mentor. She could have said a lot of different things. So now people are holding her to that. And then when someone is working in the space of like mental health and wellness, we expect for them to have integrity. Why is integrity not important for people, especially in the space of mental health and dealing with people when it comes to things that they may be struggling with? People can easily be taken advantage of and further abused in that space. So yes, people have every right to question your integrity. I don't think she got anything at all either. But yeah, that's the only reason why. Let me show you. The only reason why I spoke on this situation was because she said this shit and it pissed me off. Let me pull it up. She said this shit and I was like, huh? A spokesperson over some niggas? Over some niggas? You a spokesperson over some niggas that I would never even give the time of day to? I don't give a fuck that they got money. We literally seen Kevin Hart on stage making jokes about Black people in a room full of white people. And you think I care about a Nick Cannon? Who else was she out here? Cam Newton. Who else was she out here interviewing? Men, Black men that literally don't do anything for the community at all. Like, girl, that shit pissed me off. I don't know what it is about Black celebrities lately, but they really been making me mad. And that Kevin Hart special, that shit really pissed me off too. They need to start getting canceled one by one.
And I'm ready to go toe to toe in the comments with somebody if they got something to say about what I said, because I said what I said. See? But you know, and I see celebrities. And I double down on it. I see celebrities and even public figures as yourself who have to deal with people having so much access to you because of social media, but also sort of dogpiling on. Yep. And I wanted to. And
then Shannon Sharpe is dumb. Like, Shannon Sharpe is not even smart.
Be sure again that this conversation was not that, and that we really focused on the conversation that matters. Yeah. And even so, people are like, is she a doctor or is she not a doctor? Does she have the credentials or is it da 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 da? And I did wonder how you have ever felt outside of today, this week, how you have ever felt when you have put in the work to get the academics, get the grades, get the degrees, have the lived experience, have the work professional experience, and then to have people try to discredit that or discredit you. 100%. Just as a Black woman, what is that internal emotional process?
We gonna be real about what you're talking about. Not just as a Black woman, but as a Black woman who has stood on a mountaintop for our Black community, who the Black women audience has made me their spokesperson. I never made myself that. They loved when I was ripping the Black dudes apart in their perspective.
This pissed me off. This is what did it. So I decided to respond because I'm just like, girl, you are no spokesperson for me. I don't even know you like that. How could you speak for me? I can speak for my damn self. So no, that pissed me off. I was like, girl, get the fuck out of here with that shit. She sat on some couches of men that wanted to fuck her, and now she thinks she's a spokesperson for Black women. Get the fuck out of here with that. That shit pissed me off. Call yourself a life coach. Call yourself a mentor and call it a day. Just call it a day. That was some weird. That was weird. I don't know how else to explain it other than it was weird. It's like, girl, you going into most toxic spaces too. It's not even like she's going into these spaces where the focus is to really change and heal. Like the conversations are had to go viral, to get the clicks and to get the views and to have a clickbait moment. And these are the podcasts that she goes on to where she's labeling them her sessions. You are an entertainer, sis, not a spokesperson.
Codependent is I go to lean, and if you're not there, I'm freaking out. When I tell people that your adversities are working for you, how you decide to be in it mentally is your decision.
I don't know how old your mom was when she had you, but
16. Yes, she abandoned me. She was in her addiction. I forgave her before she acted. And we are now in a promised land. My abandonment caused me to have anxious attachment. I was engaged with a fiance, fresh off the field football player, as I healed my dysfunction.
And that's another thing too, how I was able to spot her as like this fraud. I don't know when I called it, but I called it maybe like last year or so. I don't remember, but how I was able to spot that she was a fraud. The sad reality is that most Black people in the Black community, because therapy is seen as a taboo, like it really is. Like I think the millennial generation, I feel like we're doing a better job of normalizing it in the Black community, but we still have a long way to go, especially when we speak on Black people and mental health. But if you've never been in a space where you're getting clinical help from a licensed professional, then you don't understand what to expect. You don't know what standards you should have, and you don't know what the tone and the atmosphere should look like. So one way that I was able to spot the inconsistencies in Cheyenne Bryant was that anytime she would speak within these podcasts, when it came to Cam Newton, that was the first time I've ever heard about her. And I thought that at times when she inserted her own personal experiences, I thought that she was simply doing that because she was trying to come across relatable and she was trying to make that connection with Cam because he was super difficult. But then after she left that podcast, there were clips of her that were going viral, and she always inserted her personal experiences, her personal lifestyle, her personal standards. And I'm just like, what professional, what licensed professional, who actually does that? That's actually licensed and a professional. Because there would be points in these conversations where I wouldn't expect for her to pull from her experience. I would expect for her to pull from her license, her schooling, her education, not consistently always inserting her own standards, her own requirements, her lifestyle. And that's what kept rubbing me the wrong way about her, which was how I was able to spot that, because a licensed professional doesn't do that. I had a psychiatrist. I'm like, my psychiatrist ain't never talked to me like that. A therapist, I'm like, my therapist I mean, they may surface level make that connection with you, but not to the point to where it crosses boundaries, that professional boundary that is necessary in a space where you're getting professional help. And she crossed a lot of boundaries in those conversations with Nick Cannon, Shannon Sharp, and I don't know, just I forget his name. He was a football player. I forget his damn name. He played for the Celtics. I remember him playing for the Celtics, but I forget his damn name. But you know who I'm talking about. She just kept inserting her personal experiences, and I don't know. I just never seen a licensed professional consistently feel the need to do that, because they could actually educate you over the experience that you are sharing with them. They would educate you through the experience, not insert or constantly feel the need to insert their experience on your experience. And that's one thing that she consistently did, to where, okay, I'm like, why are you not educating Cam Newton when it comes to his struggles? Nick Cannon, like, why are you not really educating? And that was one of the biggest red flags when it came to Cheyenne Bryant. And I'm like, something's not adding up, because I'm like, I just expected her to educate not only the men that she was sitting down speaking with, but also the audience. And I just felt like she really didn't educate in the way that I experienced in my therapy sessions. That's all I'm saying.
I started to want to know, when you gonna get the off this couch. If a man is not showing up in his commitment, there's a respect level.
Yeah.
And if I can't have you in thought, then maybe he's not your Boaz. You can have narcissistic characteristics and not be diagnosed as a narcissist. Gaslighting is, I came home late, I'm gonna make you think I haven't really crossed a boundary and you are tripping. Emotions don't cause problems, they create resolution. Feelings cause more problems. Either you want a daddy or you want a daddy. And a grown woman like me, I want a daddy. And but us women, we gotta come on. Cheating is a character defect. If you have a dog, ladies, it's a dog. If it barks, it barks.
Good. And we're gonna get into that a little bit later.
Okay.
I want to dive right into the book. Some of my favorite chapters that I read as I was doing my research and preparing.
Doing her homework.
Sorry, I'm gonna be stopping this a lot, y'all. I'm sorry. So sorry. I got a lot to say. Anyway, once again, Kayla is in the position where I feel like she's coming across where this is self-motivated. This is not for Black women and girls. And I've called her out several times for this. And again, she's always on the wrong side. Consistently, always on the wrong side. Consistently. So I do question when you allow a woman on your couch like this. I wouldn't want to be attached to her in any type of way, because if people are calling her a scammer, I wouldn't want a scammer on my platform. I would not put a scammer on my platform. I'm sorry. She was supposed to do a speaking engagement in St. Louis, and there was another man that was supposed to do the speaking engagement with her. He canceled. Because he was like, that's not a good look for my brand. That's not a good look at all. But here we are, where Kayla, once again, is on the wrong side. Yet she speaks about how she's for Black women. She's for Black women and girls. She does it for Black women and girls. The Chris Brown opportunity that she got on stage, that was for Black women and girls. And it's just like, he's an abuser. So here this woman is a scammer, and you got her on your platform. Like, this is like a consistent thing with her. And typically, whenever she inserts Black women collectively, it's always to save her own ass. It's not truly for Black women. So it's always self-motivated. It's not collectively thoughtful. Like, she's not really thinking about her. She's not really thinking about us. She's thinking about herself. So I just noticed that about her. She consistently does that. And I'm just like, okay, stop saying you're doing it. And this is another thing too. Two things, right? Kayla could stop saying it's for Black women and just say it's for me. That's okay, because that's your choice. And then Cheyenne Bryant can say, I'm just a life coach, and continue to do what you're doing. Like, that's the difference. It's not that you have to stop what you're doing and you have to be fake and you have to be performative. No, be yourself, but be real in it though. Stop hiding behind these labels or saying, oh, I'm doing this for said person, or I'm a doctor and I'm an expert. Like, just do what you do, but be true in it. Be your real self in it and take on whatever label comes with that instead of hiding behind these labels and saying that you're for this and you're for that when you're really not. You're really not.
You know what? I come prepared, child. I come prepared. But a chapter that really stood out for me, chapter 3, examining your dysfunction in the wilderness. First things first, I just want you to break down, what is the wilderness that you're speaking of?
Love that. So I use the Moses journey in my book, where I talk about the wilderness and the promised land. And as most of us may or may not know, Moses freed the Israelites from the Egyptians and took them on this journey to freedom, which was supposed to be the promised land. Well, he took them to the Red Sea. They're like, hey, Moses, why are we here? Why did we take the long route? We're at this big gushing sea. It's not going to open up.
I'm sorry, y'all, but she kind of reminds me of B. Simone. And I find it interesting that she's gone on B. Simone, Dear Wifey podcast. And y'all know how I feel about that Dear Wifey podcast. That's a scam. Then B. Simone, she done got caught up in some scams. Now Kayla Nicole. Cause she scammed black women with the whole Dear Black Women when the whole situation with the Swifties happened. And then she linked up with Chris Brown, the abuser. I don't know about y'all, but I felt scammed. Cause I'm like, wait a minute. That's a scam. So I do find it interesting when it comes to Cheyenne, who she connects to. I hope y'all peeping that too. I hope you peeping that too.
The Egyptians are closing up on us. What are we doing? Moses is like, yo, chill out. You know what I mean? God sent me. I know what I'm doing. I got this rod, and he takes his rod and he waves it and stuff. And the Red Sea opens up, and it opens up on dry land. And so when they walk across on dry land signifies that God has allowed you to walk to the other side.
This is all alleged. Everything in this video is alleged. It's alleged.
Side, as he's opened it up for you with no residue on your feet about your past, which means you're supposed to be moving forward and not looking backwards. The woman in the Bible who looked backwards turned to salt. She was very salty. She turned to salt, honey. She was very salty of what she couldn't fix from the back, from the past. This is why I say blaming is unhealthy, because as I'm looking to the back, I identified her turning to salt as being salty for the things that you've done, that you don't like, and that you cannot fix. So really quick, the wilderness happened because once they got there, after God did all these things, opened the Red Sea, had them walk on dry land, took them out of captivity, they still had the nerve to get there and say, well, we still don't believe, and we just want water, and we want manna, and we probably could have just stayed in captivity, right? And so God said, well, guess what? There's my will and there's free will, and I will bless you at the level of your belief. You want manna, you want water, I'll give you that, and I will reflect to you your mindset, which is the wilderness mindset. So you'll be here for 40 years. And they stayed in the wilderness for 40 years. And in that wilderness is where I say the promised land or the wilderness is not a destination. It is a mindset. And so life reflects back onto you whatever you are mentally preserving within your mind. Life will say, oh, Kayla, so this is how you feel about yourself. Let me set up circumstance and let me have life so it can prove to you your self-fulfilling prophecy. You got self-love, there's going to be...
Oh my God. Okay. I can't. I seriously need to ask it's just a bunch of word salad. I seriously need to ask, why did y'all want me to react to this again?
Things that line up that represent self-love. You had a self-love deficit. We're going to have people come in and victimize you and show you that you don't have self-love.
Right. And so, look,
what?
When you say that, it speaks.
You're going to come in. Did I hear that correctly? You're going to have people come in and victimize you.
Love.
Right. And so, look.
And we probably could have just stayed in captivity. Right. And so God said, well, guess what? There's my will and there's free will. And I will bless you at the level of your belief. You want manna, you want water, I'll give you that. And I will reflect to you your mindset, which is the wilderness mindset. So you'll be here for 40 years. And they stayed in the wilderness for 40 years. And in that wilderness is where I say the promised land or the wilderness is not a destination, it is a mindset. And so life reflects back onto you whatever you are mentally preserving within your mind. Life will say, oh, Kayla, so this is how you feel about yourself. Let me set up circumstance and let me have life so it can prove to you your self-fulfilling prophecy. You got self-love. There's going to be things that line up that represent self-love. You're at a self-love deficit. We're going to have people come in and victimize you and show you that you don't have self-love.
I don't know how I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like that's a little toxic. I do. I think that it's slightly a little toxic. But again, this is more spiritual base. This is more spiritual base, spiritual undertone. This is not really giving like psychology expert. So I don't know about that.
Right, and so
Right?
look, this is the thing. When you say that, it speaks to me so much because just to be fully transparent, like I have not been having the best day or the best week.
Yeah.
Even
Sorry
like
to hear
coming in
that.
here today, it's not your fault.
Yeah.
But I
But
feel
still.
like I'm at a place where I am being challenged in that way. You know, you say that you have self-love, but prove that.
Yeah.
Also, like specifically talking to God, I've been praying a lot lately to that very specific prayer and powerful prayer of remove things that aren't from me from my life. And you have to be careful with this prayer, I know, because the minute that you do that, when
But
I tell
that's
you,
good. Wait, I love that prayer. I got to pin that. That's so good, y'all. Y'all got to trust God and trust the process more. Let me tell you why. The Bible
it's scary
says
though.
whatever can be shaken will.
Oh,
So that whatever can't.
Then this another thing too. This lady is quoting all these damn scripture verses and things like that, and y'all questioning why people are calling her the fuck out when it comes to her integrity. Who do you think her audience is? And you defending her for what? I'm gonna assume a woman of God, a Christian woman, would have integrity. I thought it was the witches you couldn't trust. She don't even have integrity, but she's sitting up here quoting every scripture she can think of. But y'all mad that people are calling her out because she don't have integrity? That's what I'm saying. If she wouldn't do all this Bible scripture thumping and quoting, and I don't think people would be coming at her the way they would. But you went into the church. People have every right to hold her to that accountability. She putting that accountability on others through a biblical lens. That's what I'm not understanding. Like, what do you mean? And people have the right to question her in that way.
yeah, stays.
Won't.
Remains, yeah.
So why are we so afraid to tell God? I wake up and I'm like, shake the tree, baby.
Oof.
Because whatever's supposed to be gone, I don't need that excessive weight.
Yeah.
It is burdening me at this point.
Yeah.
The weight that's not meant for you to carry is a burden.
Mm-hmm.
The weight that's meant to be there floats you. You're in alignment with it.
Yeah. I just think that the in-between is what's so hard to deal with. You know, you say that prayer.
Yeah, okay. I got to talk about this. Okay, so I recently went through my own experience kind of with this, but not in the same way. So I was out here trying to make friends, and I noticed that there's like this trend to be awakened and to be healed and to be I don't know, like on this like spiritual path. And what I've been noticing, what I've been bumping into here in Houston, my experience has been that women talk a good game about healing. They talk a good game about growth. They say all of the right things, but the substance is not there. There's a hollowness inside that they carry. That there shouldn't be a hollowness. There should be a fulfillment, but they lack that because they really didn't go deep within themselves. They just performed the growth. They just perform the journey, the spiritual growth, the awakening, the heal. They just perform it. That's it. So as I'm trying to connect to Cheyenne through this whole like spiritual word salad, I'm not getting the connection. And I feel like I should. I feel like I should be connecting to what she's saying. I should be feeling it, inside. But I don't. I feel a hollowness. That's what I'm feeling. And I've been bumping into that a lot lately. Like, women are saying they're healing or they're healed. And I get it. There's women at different levels and things like that. But I also think that part of the issue too is women don't know how to heal because they don't know how to be authentic. Women don't know how to heal themselves because they won't allow themselves to be authentic so that they can heal. Most women only know how to perform. So if it's not performing for a man, it's performing for themselves because it gets them the money, it gets them the career, it gets them the lifestyle. Some women really don't know how to strip all of those layers away to really do the real work, which requires them to strip those performative layers to heal. And so when we have this conversation with Cheyenne and Kayla, she's saying all of the right things, but there's that connection is not there, and it should be. I don't really feel it. I don't really feel it. And it shows up in some of her podcast episodes, like right where she was telling religious women, I don't know if y'all seen the clip, but she was telling religious women to be abstinent, refrain from having intercourse and sex and things like that. But then she was telling them to bathe naked with the man that they're dating and test to see. And I was like, what? Have y'all seen that? I'll have to send it to you. Let me see if I can pull it up. So that tells me that's a woman that hasn't really done the work, because why would you be telling women to do that? Why would you even tell a woman to put herself in that position? Because that could send mixed signals. That could send mixed signals. Nowhere in the Bible does it say do shit like that. And I just don't understand what's the reason for that. And that was the advice that she gave. A woman that's really they have really truly gone within wouldn't advise you to do something like that. And even I think, what was his name? Pastor Jamal Bryant had to call her out like, no, 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 no. You don't need to be bathing naked with your prospect or your potential life partner to test the boundaries or to test your discipline. I just.
And then all of a sudden you start losing friendships that you thought you were going to have your entire life. You start losing, partners in romantic relationships where you thought like, oh, this is going to be the one.
Yeah.
When I tell you, people have been dropping like flies, honey, I'm like, okay, God, I get it. So I feel like I'm in my own version of the wilderness, trying to navigate it. But I want to get more into the chapter a little bit deeper. An excerpt that I thought really spoke to me, and I'm going to read a quote. You said, we can only heal when we're willing to go deep within ourselves to examine the roots. Our depth determines our height when it comes to our healing. The deeper we go, the higher we can sprout in our evolution. Yeah. So good. We have to know what the roots hold. And in some cases, we have to be willing to uproot what's present and plant new seeds to change the fruit that we're bearing. That sounds, it sounds
like
good.
It sounds like the space, the season you're in your wilderness.
Yeah.
It's God taking you deeper so that you can uproot, and he's pruning so that you can grow. And you are uncomfortable in it because this is what growing pains.
This is going to be controversial, but I don't believe God can take you deeper. I believe that that's a journey that you must choose for yourself. So you waiting on God to take you deeper within yourself, that sounds crazy to me. I'm sorry. It does. And y'all know I'm going to reference, I always say, to meet God, you must leave the outer world behind. You must strip yourself of your persona. This is where people perform. Women perform in the persona section. Okay, you got to get out of that performance. You have to strip yourself of the performance. And listen, I don't look at persona as negative. I think that as women, code switching is very much necessary. It could save your life. It could benefit you when it comes to opportunities, networking, et cetera, et cetera. We could go into how having different personas can benefit you in many different ways. But you must strip yourself of those things when you're digging deep within yourself. You also have to get past your ego. A lot of women don't want to get past their ego. They don't want to feel dumb. They don't want to feel shame. They don't want to feel the guilt. They don't want to feel like they're less of or less than. They don't want to feel like they're losing. But that's all part of the process. Those emotions pass. You must work through them. But those emotions pass. You transform those emotions. And you going through the process of transforming the emotions is what empowers you. That's the substance. That's where you get the substance. If you don't do that, if you don't work through those emotions of shame, guilt, regret, feeling undeserving, less than, because you're really confronting yourself in a real way, you're never going to have the substance. You're never going to get to the substance. You have to work through those emotions, those thoughts, those narratives that creep up, especially when you start to shed your ego. Because the narratives that creep up in your mind about who you really are after you shed your ego are not always pretty. They're not always nice. But you have to work through that. And in some cases, you have to rewrite those narratives that your mind negatively creates to where it may even stop you from digging deeper. And even when you think you have went deep, you could go deeper. You can always go deeper. I don't think that it ever stops. Honestly, I think it's a lifelong experience where you dig deep, you transform, you ascend, and then you dig some more, and you dig some more, and you dig some more, and you learn more about yourself. But it takes time. But you got to get past the ego. Now, I always say this. I think a lot of the religious girlies are not talking to God. I always say that they're talking to their ego. They're talking to the unconscious part within themselves that they're not really making that connection with. To me, God is to me in the most authentic, most vulnerable place within yourself. And that means you would have to walk away from the outer world, walk away from the persona that you present to the outer world, strip yourself of your ego, and meet God itself. But there's a lot of blockages that you're bumping into, like shame. That's huge. A lot of women won't get past that part when it comes to their ego because they're protecting themselves from the shame that they feel. And I get that. I completely understand that. Feeling shame is not a good fucking feeling. That shit feels, I don't even know how to explain it. It doesn't feel good. It feels like at times maybe you're a bad person, or maybe you're not good enough, or maybe your mistakes are just all that you are. And that's not true. That's not true. You must push past that. You got to meet God at self. Self. That's where God is. But you got to get past everything that's going to come in and block you from that connection. And again, the reason why it's so hard and the reason why it's so hard to do is because your ego is a protection barrier. It's to protect your self-esteem. It's to protect your self-identity. So I get that. But you got to be stronger than that. You got to push through that. One thing that I know more than anything is that women are very strong. Women are very powerful. And if you need to embrace your shadow side to step into that power and push through that shame and really be strong and stand 10 toes in who you really are, then you just got to do what you got to do. But I know women are very, very strong mentally. We are mentally strong. Cramps, childbirth, you are mentally strong. You can push past that shame. You can. I won't settle for anything less. You can push past that shame because I know how strong women are. I have seen it. At times I have felt it within myself. So you can do it. It's just, are you ready to? And when it comes to Kayla, I don't really think she's ready to, because part of the reason is you got to leave everything else behind. You got to leave that outer world. And most people don't want to leave the outer world behind. They don't want to leave the materialism. They don't want to leave the rat race and the competition that comes with that. Like, who can be on top? Who can be the most successful? There's things that you have to leave behind. And I think that may be what is holding Kayla back, allegedly, from digging truly deeper within herself to get to that place that a part of her is truly yearning for, but you got to get past the shame. And sometimes that shame comes from like accountability, the lack of accountability, embracing parts of yourself that you know maybe don't make you look the greatest at times. So you got to push past that. Put the ego down. You got to put the ego down.
Feels and looks like. And we all want the growth, but we forget that there is a price we pay called sacrifice and pain. And when we understand that, we then trust the process and we lean not onto our own understanding, but we trust God in all his ways. So we say your ways are not ours, your thoughts are not ours. And if I'm asking for depth, I'm asking for more, right? And I'm asking for you to exalt me, then that means that you have to take me lower in humility. You have to take me lower in my rooting. And that means that you have to show me who the vine is. That's God. He's the source.
What can you lean on, though, in a season like this for comfort?
I always say this when it comes to religion. I'm sorry, but I just have to say this. Why must, I don't understand why is it taught from a place of less than? Why is it not taught from a place of self-love? Why is it taught from a place of lack and sacrifice and like hardship and struggle? This is why I always say that the Black church made me fat. It made me depressed. And it made me broke as hell because it's just like, it just keeps you at a very low place. And she even said low. Why can't it be high? Why can't it be self-love? Like, why can't it be self-empowerment? Why is it always struggle and sacrifice and you must make yourself worthy? And that, I mean, we don't have to teach it that way. We could teach it to know God is to love yourself. To have a relationship with God is to know yourself. What's wrong with that? Why can't we teach it that way? Why is it always struggle and sacrifice and we must overcome?
For not just me, but any other woman that's in this in between.
I love that you said that because what happens is too many people are codependent on their lean. Their lean.
See what I'm saying? Like, just convicted. Okay, I'm a leaner. I'm a leaner.
Yeah.
I'd be trying to lean, honey.
Yeah.
I'd be trying to lean. And I don't feel like I have too many people to lean on. I mean, I have my faith, I have my family, and I do have a couple girlfriends here and there. But yeah, so if we shouldn't be doing that, we shouldn't be trying to lean.
So we should be interdependent, not codependent on our lean.
Okay, break that down.
And
interdependent versus codependent. Because I know what that means, but for our listeners, what's the difference?
So interdependent is I can stand on my own. I can lean on you when need be. But if I go to lean, you're not there, I'm all right. I'm okay.
Yeah.
Codependent is I go to lean, and if you're not there, I'm freaking out. I go to lean, and I don't have my own verticalness to stand solid in. And I don't have the confidence that one or two things, either you'll return, right, when you're done doing what you're doing, or if you don't return, guess what? Gotta fill the space with who is meant to be there.
Yeah.
And that's the faith. Faith is an action word.
Absolutely. You've been really open too about your relationship with your mom and the underlying abandonment issues that you've dealt with over time because of that strained relationship.
Yeah.
I'm curious if there's anything else in your life that you've had to unpack outside of that relationship that's brought you to the place that you are now.
Yeah. You know, interesting enough, and what I'm about to say is a huge blessing. My mother, who is now sober and is my best friend, and she's the best mother my brother and I can ever ask for. When the Bible says, I will give you back the time that the locusts and the cankerworms took from you, this is a real essence of that, giving me back the time that she wasn't there. And she's like on triple fold mama mode for these last 10 plus years she's been sober. And it's crazy amazing to even fathom that we are in this season.
Yeah.
But my mother has been my biggest issue. And my only barrier I had to get past as a woman who looks for a woman, being my mother, to reflect back to me who I am. When she's not there to reflect that, I have to navigate that on my own. Because although my grandmother raised me, and she did a hell of a job raising me, she was able to love me unconditionally. She was able to nurture me and give me every single thing that she had. But she couldn't
I feel like the reason why she's talking about God so much is because she's gonna grift into ministry. Y'all already know how this about to go. Stormy, Coach Stormy, she gonna grift into ministry. Listen, the oldest trick in the book is everyone knows that the scammers always end up at the church. They always end up in the church. Why? Why do scammers always end up in church? Particularly Christian churches, because Christians leave their doors open. So they're going to end up in there. There's no boundaries, really. There's no vetting. Come as you are and repent. Even though you did some fucked up shit, we're going to forgive you. And they're going to open up their doors. So they will be able to continue to scam. No accountability really has to be taken. And that's really it.
Reflect for me who I am in the ways that my mother could, because that's my mother. I'm her direct seed. And so I had to create my own ideology of, okay, so what is this reflection as a woman looking for a mom to reflect from that I want to see? Where that benefited me, Kayla, is that to this day, I am able to do like the Bible scripture says, call a thing that isn't as though it is. So when the Bible says it's good for me that I was afflicted, right? Me having to look in the mirror and see that it's just me and my own reflection. And I had to create, what is it that I really want to see in this mirror? Because I didn't have my mom there to reflect from. I said, let me get motherfucking creative. Let me get as creative as I want to be. And I created a young girl who has 6 degrees, who bought her first house at 19, who had 3 retail stores on Melrose here in Los Angeles, who bought her first house at 19, had 2 daycares, who was the first in her family to go to college, to get a master's, to get a doctorate, who went from the hood to the hills, who's a best-selling author, and I'm not done fucking creating.
Period.
And so when I tell people that your adversities are working for you, just like where you're at in your season right now, this crossroad is one of your biggest blessings. How you decide to be in it mentally is your decision. It's your job to curate that. So when you're looking in the mirror, right, and remember, our reflection has to catch up to us. Our shadow.
I ain't heard nothing after 6 degrees. I'm sorry. Did anybody else hear anything after 6 degrees? She said she had two retail stores on Melrose. Can anyone verify these things? I mean, she just constantly is saying it. She sounds just like Stormy. Coach Stormy, where she be like, I made 20-something millionaires, 60 millionaires.
Is behind us. It has to catch up. So if you see a frown in the mirror and you have already tried to curate a smile, you don't match the frown. You tell the frown, at some point you're going to catch up. And I'm going to stay smiling until you do.
All in your perspective. And that kind of ties into what, our original kickoff question was, is like, how long can you blame your relationships with your parents for the person that you are today? And it sounds like you've figured out the cheat code to almost psych yourself out of the fact that you didn't have the best relationship with your mom. Sometimes I think about too, I love my parents to death, and bless their hearts, because I feel like I talk about them a lot on my podcast. My mom will call me and be like, Kayla, stop. You had an amazing childhood, which I did, absolutely. But I think we have to do a better job of giving our parents grace. A lot of times this is their first time doing this too. This is their first time being a mom. And I think we can be very hypercritical, especially as daughters. Imagine the pressure of, and I'm not a mother. You don't have children.
Not yet. Nope.
So imagine the pressure of, the responsibility of raising another life, right? And you're still trying to figure out your own. I don't know how old your mom was when she had you, but
16.
Oh,
she got pregnant at 15, birthed me at. We're 16 years apart.
Imagine that. And I think my mom was 24.
Hell, y'all, is that even true? Do we know if that's true? I got questions. Do we know if that's really true? Her whole story could be a scam.
When she had me, and I can't even.
Allegedly.
24, I was at supper club until 4 a.m. Monday to Friday. There's just no way I could have raised a child to perfection.
Coming home at 4 a.m. from supper club. It's just, in breastfeeding, it wasn't going to happen.
It wasn't going to be the life for me.
God saved you.
So we do have to give our parents so much more grace. And I love that you said that your relationship is so much better with your mom. 100%. Is there anything that you did, or any advice that you could give to people that are actively trying to repair a relationship with their parents?
I forgave her before she asked for my forgiveness.
Oh, that's good.
Because see, forgiveness is really for me. And I wasn't free. And I was definitely in my abandonment of sabotaging relationships. And when I realized that my mother
I always tell people, I feel like that's very toxic in religion as well. I always feel like you can forgive the situation so that you can release it and let it go. But sometimes it's not always safe for you to forgive the person. Because maybe the person's not sorry. I always tell people that. I'm like, how you can't forgive someone that's not sorry. You can't forgive someone that hasn't came to you and owned up to what they did, how they treated you, acknowledge it, take accountability. How can you forgive someone that hasn't even given you that? Now, you can forgive the situation so that you can let it go, but to forgive that person, it may not even be safe for you to do that. Be careful with that. Forgiveness is very tricky. It is. Now, if that person owns up to what they did and they admitted that they were wrong and they were able to acknowledge and take accountability, that's one thing. But if they ain't done that and you over there, I forgive, and they ain't even sorry, make it make sense. You can forgive the situation though, so you can let it go, but it may not be smart for you to forgive that person, especially if they're not sorry. What you forgiving?
Others' decisions had nothing to do with me, but I was making it everything about me, and I was personalizing it, and it had power over me. I said to myself, not to her, just like, you know what? Absolutely the fuck not. Like today, it stops. I'm already a pretty controlling woman of myself, so I don't care who it is. You're not gonna have power over me that affects my life in a way that's not positive. And she wasn't doing it from a place of intentionality. You know, addiction's a sickness, so she was in a sickness, and I had to have, like you just said, grace for her. And I never blamed her. And she says that to this day. She says, you know, Shy, mom is so grateful that many of my friends who also experience addiction, a lot of their daughters hate them, don't like them, still blame them. They're still pointing their finger at them for abandonment. My mom says, and they have every right to do that. She's like, but you don't do that. And it makes it easier for her to be able to be the mom that she wants to be. But I have to say this, I said it on the B. Simone pod, what I admire about my mother most is when I was in my wilderness of trying to get through this abandonment thing, she didn't leave me hanging. Meaning, yes, she abandoned me. She was in her addiction. But anytime that I got upset, anytime that I felt some type of way, she would sit there and cry and be like, baby, however you feel, mama deserves it. Whatever you want to say, mama deserves it. If it's bad, if it's good, as long as it's respectful, shoot your shot. And then she would say, I'm sorry for it. I apologize for it. I didn't mean.
And see, she can give forgiveness to her mom because her mom owned it. But I'm talking to other women that may be watching. You may not be able to forgive your mom if she doesn't own it and she doesn't apologize and she doesn't take accountability. It may not be safe for you to forgive her because it could open you up to being hurt more. It could open you up to having the same repeated experience with her, especially if she hasn't grown at all. So just be careful about that. Let's just take what she's saying at face value. I'm gonna just take what she's saying at face value. I mean, that's all we can do. But to other women that are watching and you have a mom and it's something similar, your mother, in order for you to truly forgive her, she has to own up to it. You can forgive the situation so that you can release it, move past it, and move on with your life because that's what you deserve. So forgive the situation and release it. But her, I don't know. It just depends. Is she still abusive to you emotionally? Is she still abusive to you verbally? Is she abusive to you physically? You know, those are questions that you would have to ask because if you just forgive someone and then think it's, because of your own forgiveness that you are projecting on that person, it may not be in your best interest. It may be very unsafe for you mentally, emotionally. So just be careful about that.
I just did. I was in Dallas doing my book tour, and I was telling her what happened on the pod, and she had watched Joe Budden's pod, and I talked about abandonment, and she called me. She's crying. She's like, "I'm sorry, Mama never meant to hurt." So till this day, mothers, whether you believe you did or you didn't, if your child is saying that they are having or experiencing an impairment as a result of your parenting, this is not the time for you to argue with them and prove to them you're a good parent. Their experience of you is what they deserve to have. Just say, "I'm sorry. What do you need from me?" That's the healing process. My mom made it so easy. She's like, "You in the wilderness, I'm in this motherfucker with you. So what are we doing? What bears are we fighting? What lions are we fighting?" And we literally bear crawl through that wilderness together. And we are now in a promised land mentally, emotionally, and literally physically, even in our resort style home. And so I love that my mom will walk by my office and she talks to herself. One time I'm like in my office and she walks by.
Did you hear that? Resort style home? I'm sorry, y'all. This is giving Coach Stormy 2.0. Have y'all seen that video? You need to check it out. Go watch that video too. Because resort style, like, what? Okay.
Like, yep. to herself, we went from the hood to the
Period.
hills. And then she goes, and we ain't going back. And
Wait, y'all
thought,
living
I
together?
thought she said, we live together.
Oh,
Yes,
y'all locked
girl.
in,
We're locked
twins. Y'all
in.
locked
We're locked
in.
in. She
Okay.
cooks, cleans, caters to me. I don't have to ask for it. She washes my clothes. She irons my clothes before, oh, honey, I'm going to iron. She picks out my shoes. I mean, I don't have to ask. These are the mommy duties that she always wanted to do as a young girl. And in her words, she's like, the devil tried to rob me of this.
Ooh.
And now that
She sound more like an employee. No shade, allegedly. But she sound more like an employee, like, yeah, let me help you with this scam. And as long as I don't say nothing, I don't speak out negatively against you publicly, I'll do whatever you want. Because she got the money. Resort style home and all. She wouldn't want to give that up.
I see God wouldn't allow it, she's like, I'm gonna show up in every single motherhood that I can, and can't nobody do nothing about it.
Period. That's
Yeah.
good for her to
So
say.
I love it.
Okay,
Right,
come on.
right.
That's okay, Mom. I love it. I'm sure it's very healing for your inner child and also for her as well. I would be curious too. This is like a diversion, but like, what is her relationship like with her mother?
So my grandmother, who passed away 2 years ago in our home on hospice from cancer, rest in peace, who raised me, they always had a somewhat estranged relationship. Because they're so much alike, right? And then my grandmother's raising us, and my mom's in her addiction, and my grandmother's a very, very straight gangster type of grandmother who's like, you know, listen here, I'm raising your kids, bitch. That's just how she is. You know what I mean? There's just certain shit you ain't gonna say, you ain't gonna do,
Right.
because I'm mama, and I'll hand you your ass, and that's just how she was. And so, you know, they kind of had this feistiness. What I love most, okay, was that when my grandmother came to our home on hospice, you know, to prepare for her.
I think she's the type that lies and believes her lies too, y'all. And I tell y'all all the time that personality type that believe the personality disorder allegedly that I think she got, I think it's that narcissism. Because them the main ones that believe the lies they tell. I mean, it's pretty bold to be out here calling yourself a doctor and saying you got 6 degrees, but you don't. And then she talks like a narc too. I tell y'all all the time, narcs, they talk in circles. You know that when you on the playground and they have that what is it? That tire or what's the what's that one? I forgot. It's on the playground and it goes in a circle and you get on there and you get to going and then it make you real dizzy and you forgot where you were at and you can't even see because you just that's how narcissists talk. That's the merry-go-round. That's how narcissists talk. They talk in a merry-go-round way. And they never got to the point. They never answered your question. There's no true understanding in what they said. So yeah. And then the reason why they make such great liars is because they lie about things that you would think a person wouldn't lie about. And then they'll give 20% truth, 80% lie, right? Who would think that Arkansas the college, Arkansas University, I mean, who would really go look into that? You would just be like, oh, it really did shut down, right? That's what makes them good liars, y'all. That's because it's like, first of all, why would you lie about something like that? They're like, that's a pretty big deal to lie about something like that. And then number two, like, okay, yeah, the school actually did shut down though. So most people wouldn't go beyond that. But I don't know. She pissed off the internet. So they went digging and they looked into it.
Transition. My mother on hands and feet took full care of her. I'm talking about like bathed her, cleaned, cooked, catered every single service. And my grandmother was like, you know what? Because my mom moved in with me before my grandmother came on hospice. And we're in this big, beautiful resort side home. And my grandmother told her on her deathbed, she was like, you know what, babe? Mama gonna be real with you. I was jealous of your ass. Because I raised her.
Yeah.
And you in this
you
house.
Up here living like
and
a queen.
I should have been in this house because I'm the queen of this thing. And they had that moment of laughter and my mom, and they're crying and my mom's laughing. My mom's like, we asked you a long time ago to move in here.
So
but it was cute because that was their way of having their bonding. And then my grandma looked at her and she goes, let me tell you something. If I die and you don't take care of these kids, I will come hunt your ass. And I'm like, knowing my grandmother, she will. And so I always remind my mom, I'm like, don't get haunted.
Right.
Don't get haunted. Don't bring that up in here. So yeah, they end up having a really close relationship towards the end that made my heart smile. I loved, and that was very.
Yo, what is up with the whole resort style home? Why must we know that? Y'all don't think that's weird?
Very healing for my mother to be able to give back to her mom and care for her in ways that she cared for us.
Absolutely. You briefly touched on too.
And I'm sorry, but the feds are listening, honey. They are tapped in.
Anxious attachment in your story that you were telling.
Oh yeah.
And there's nothing more that resonates with me than anxious attachment. That is that's in my bones.
Honey,
it's
in
in
our
my
DNA.
blood. There's that I fear
It's
more.
in everything you were sipping at supper club at 2 a.m.
Hello, yeah. Just nervous and worried that, well, my friend's gonna leave me tomorrow. I'm gonna wake up and this man that I love is gonna hate me and not want to be like, that is my mind on loop. And I've done the therapy, I've done the just like living life, I've done the church and the prayer, but it's still something that I feel like I actively have to work through. I'm curious to know if there's
Y'all, this is what be killing me about people in therapy. I'm sorry, y'all, but I gotta tell y'all this. Therapy is just like when you get a trainer, right? You go work out with your trainer, 45 minutes to an hour. You train hard. What you do outside of that session determines everything. And it's something just like anything. You have to consistently work at it. You can't just pick it up and put it down. You can't just start a fitness journey and then quit and then stop doing what you were doing before. That's therapy. That is what therapy is. And you do more work outside of the session than you do inside of the session. So it's not something that you just pick up and put down. It's something that you have to consistently work at. It's not something that you just start and stop. And when it comes to therapy, you have to keep at it because it's hard to change imprints that really come from trauma. Some of us have PTSD. Some of us have some very severe experiences where it's going to take you working at it for a while. It's going to take you working at it and really giving it your all and being truly dedicated for a while to see the real improvement. So you can't just go to a few sessions and then that's it. Like you have to really commit, just like you would a fitness trainer.
Pointers, like action items that you can give me to stop that ruminating thought of, oh my gosh, what if they leave?
Yeah, I love that. I talk about that in Live Your Promise, my book, about how my abandonment caused me to have anxious attachment. And mine's was, I need you to pretty much be sitting in the same spot when I go, because I was in college with 26 units a semester. I was engaged with a fiance. And what I loved most about him, Kayla, was, you know, he was a fresh off the field football player, fine as hell.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
job.
But guess what I like about him? He be sitting at home. See, at 21 and 22, that safety was all my unwise self thought I needed for my anxious attachment and dysfunction. As I healed my dysfunction, I started to want to know, when you going to get the fuck off this couch?
Actually, literally.
And work and do something with yourself, because my anxious attachment was moving into secure attachment, where now it's not about me trusting you, because the anxious attachment isn't, I don't want you to leave because you're going to cheat. It was never.
But I also want to add this, and I do want to know from my audience, to the girls that really have been working on yourself, and I mean like really working on yourself, right? When my best friend, when she came here, she had therapy, she carried a journal, she was doing shadow work, and she was meeting with her therapist. She stayed with me for a whole week. And it's just nice connecting with women that are really taking themselves serious like that. But as much as we come online and talk about men, I'm just being real. As much as we come online and talk about men and dogpile on men every day, do you know how hard it is to find other women that are in the middle of doing the work and that are at a good level where you can connect with them in a healthy way? You know how hard that is to find? That is very hard to find. Why is that so hard to find? If women's shit, I'm just being real. If women's shit don't stink, right? It don't stink. It don't stink. Why is it hard for us to connect to each other then? It's very rare. Like what me and my best friend have is very fucking rare. It's very rare, and I'm very much aware of that. I'm like, and it's so crazy. Like I feel like God be working in mysterious ways. When she came to visit, she mirrored back to me what I had been missing, craving real connection, substance. And I'm just like, damn, why is it so hard to find? Because to be honest, I don't think I found it outside of her. And she's so dedicated. Worked out every morning. Therapy, I think, was on Wednesdays. Book club, she had that on, I think, Thursday. And I'm just like, so this does exist. Like, right? Because I'm out here trying to search for it in other people outside of her. And I'm just like, damn, why is it so hard to find this shit? But if we go according to the internet, women's shit don't stink. Some not adding up. some is not adding up. It's not. And then you think you're connecting to someone that's on your wavelength, right? Like you think you're connected to someone that's on your wavelength, but then you realize they doing shit for social media, or they're doing shit for I think we be up in the house too. They're doing it for all the wrong reasons. They're doing it for other people. They're not really doing it for themselves. They're not really doing it. If I wouldn't have told y'all what my best friend was here doing, y'all wouldn't know because she don't post it to social media. She's not here, guys. I'm growing. You see me growing? Like I be seeing this and something like, girl, growth is silent. It's not this loud thing. It's an inner experience. So it's just, I don't know. It's crazy. Look at me. I'm peaceful. I'm in peace. I don't think that's how it works. I don't know. Sometimes I think the girls don't know how to just be. And I think part of that is because we're constantly told who to be and how to be. That when it comes to us just being, we don't know how to be that. I think that may be the problem. And so we tend to mirror, or we tend to perform instead of just existing.
Never that for me.
Right.
He was not a cheater. I knock on wood, never had that kind of insecurity with men, thank God. It was more my abandonment felt fed when I knew exactly where you were. Like I can pin you. You're there. You regulate my emotions. You're right there. You're like a blankie. That's that anxious attachment. And it's nothing to do with so much the cheating part. That's just an insecurity. And so by the time I caught off the wedding, I was in my secure attachment. And it really threw off the dynamic of our relationship because now I'm asking and having a high.
But okay, we're like how many minutes in? We're 23 minutes in, and she's still talking about her personal life. Whenever I hear someone say they are a licensed professional, I want to be educated in my experience. So if she's using these podcast episodes as sessions, she has yet to properly educate Kayla on her anxious attachment. Like to pull from her education, not her own life experiences. And yes, your therapist will at times come across relatable, but she's going to mainly focus on education. And that's what's lacking in this that's what's lacking in this sit down. I'm like, "Girl, okay, we get it. You have anxious attachment, but how can you educate her on that when it comes to herself?" Like I would be asking her probing questions like, well, what brings on the anxiousness? Do you feel like at times your partner detaches from you? I would be asking questions like, well, where do you think that comes from? Is it an emotional abandonment that maybe you experienced in your childhood? Because Kayla said that her parents gave her a really good childhood. Okay, giving your child a really good childhood doesn't mean that you showed up for them emotionally. So maybe her anxious attachment style came from the lack of emotional availability that her parents maybe misstepped on. Not saying it makes them a bad parent. Maybe they did everything materialistically, put her in great schools and everything, but maybe they could have poured into her more emotionally. So maybe she developed that anxious attachment style from emotional abandonment. I really want her to dig deeper when it comes to these conversations and not put so much on her, but put more focus on the other person and ask more probing questions where we can get to the bottom of why Kayla feels that way. Because I really want to know. Does she get triggered when she doesn't feel like she's getting enough attention? Is it an attention thing where she gets anxiously attached, like that person is not really giving her that much attention and she feels the distance because she's not getting that attention? Not even saying that person is detached. Maybe she just doesn't feel seen by the person. So that brings on that anxious attachment. I mean, there's so many different questions I would have asked her instead of just focusing the conversation on myself so much.
Higher demand and expectation of you to go out and do things, and you are already the kind of guy that equally has this type of attachment that doesn't want to leave my presence. I was equally trauma bond with you on that. Now I've healed from my trauma bond. What do you think happens when one person heals from their trauma? Where is the bond?
Yeah.
There isn't one. So now if we don't grow together and go from trauma bond to healed bond, we're off kilter. We're not equally yoked anymore.
Can I give just a very practical, like real example?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm transitioning from being anxious attachment to, what is it, avoidant?
Avoidant. Yeah. No. Yeah.
So, and I don't think that's a good thing, right? Like it feels good because it's like, oh, I feel like I'm getting my power back and I'm not allowing let's say a man, for example, this is just an example, a very loose example, guys. So if my guy that I'm dating goes out for the night and we're texting the whole evening, or texting all day as we usually do, but 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock hits, drinks start flowing, he starts having a good time with his friends, and then an hour goes by, I don't have a response.
The time gap starts to
An hour
spread.
goes by, I don't have a response. 3 hours goes by, and I'm like, okay, well now I'm gonna just give, just like a wellness check-in call, nothing crazy.
Nothing toxic.
Yeah, nothing
at all.
toxic.
I feel like the reason why Kayla acts like that, and this is just my opinion, I am not a licensed professional. I think the reason why she responds in that way is because she hasn't healed from her past relationship trauma. And so it may put her in that space of fight or flight where she's like, oh, this person's not responding to me. Well, fuck them. Like, you know what I mean? And it could be because and it could be they're busy. In this new situation, this new relationship that she's dating this new guy, she's trying to form that new relationship. But because of her past relationship trauma, there could be like, he could really be busy, right? But because of her past relationship trauma, she think like, oh, he must be in somebody else's face, or he's just intentionally ignoring me. When really the whole time he could really just be busy. He could just be busy. But sometimes that relationship trauma that you haven't unpacked, you haven't really healed from, you haven't moved past it, will have you thinking maybe the worst, when really it may not be nothing at all.
At all. I just want to know that you're okay and alive. No answer. Then I get a text response to my call. Oh, hey, what's up? My bad. Like we having drinks, chilling. Okay, yeah, have a good time. Let me know when you make it home. They make it home, and I don't get a call or a text. So now I'm worried, but really I'm not worried. I'm in my trauma. I'm thinking, well, what are you doing, and what's going on, and why aren't you
But I
responding?
think you're
And I start blowing
taking.
up the phone.
But I think you're taking too much accountability or a better word, responsibility for his lack of communication. See, that's what us women have to be careful with, right? Yes, there's some trauma that we all working with, that we all can be trauma reactive at times. But if a man is not showing up in his commitment, or if he's not covering you no matter where he is, even when he's not in your presence, then that's his responsibility to know that when I'm in a relationship, then there are things that are appropriate for me to do. And part of that is to make sure that my girl, my wife, my woman feels safe no matter where I'm at.
Feels safe, key words, very important.
And there's a respect level that says no matter what I'm doing, I have you in thought. And if I can't have you in thought, then maybe he's not your Boaz.
And I need a Boaz.
Yeah.
Because now what's happening is I'm becoming the avoidant, because when you don't answer the third text or call, I'm done. Good luck ever talking to me again. I'll cut somebody off so fast these days, which I don't know if that's healthy either.
If you keep dealing with men like that, I think it may be your type. Poor communicators, maybe you're not the best communicator. If you consistently keep getting involved with people with poor communication skills, maybe you're not a great communicator. Because typically when you find yourself in relationships, like, you meet people where you are. And that's sometimes hard to accept, that you meet people where you are, sometimes intellectually, you meet people where you are communication wise. So I don't know. Why do you keep meeting people that don't communicate well? Who should be dating? Is she just stick with athletes?
But I mean, it's
Has she dated anyone outside of athletes?
healthy if you're not cutting off, but you are removing yourself from a relationship that isn't respecting or in alignment with your relationship values. Everybody relationships differently.
Yeah.
So I always try to say, unless it's abusive, right? It's not a wrong way to relationship. It's just different. You have to know these are my values. I do like check-in calls. I do like a certain level of reassurance, a certain level of responsibility for me. And I feel that you're doing that and you care enough from a place of not, I'm insecure, but this is the type of relationship I like. And you have to make sure that someone's in alignment with that. If not, you have two people who are not compatible, and maybe they're just together for two things, of their trauma bond or that codependency we talked about earlier, where you just need something to lean on. So be careful, because a man to lean on, but a man to lean on is a filler.
Yeah.
That's seasonal, but that's also something that will allow your trauma to bond with. And if you're a woman who wants to heal and evolve, what you said earlier, you do, and that's your prayer. Well, you don't want to lean on things that allow your trauma to nest in.
Yeah.
No, we don't want to create trauma nests. We want to create healing nests. Two different things.
Okay, I want to get into language versus reality, because I feel like on social media these days, so many words are being thrown around all of the time. Everyone's a narcissist. Everyone is gaslighting. We hear these trigger words. And I kind of want to break down the real technical idea behind, one, what a narcissist is, and what are the signs of that. because we can't say that someone is a narcissist just because like, oh, we don't agree with their approach to dating. We can't say someone's a narcissist because their opinions differ from ours. So what is a real character sign of a narcissist?
Well, first of all, you can have narcissistic characteristics and not be diagnosed as a narcissist.
Okay, also important.
Okay. So just because you show up in ways that are grandiose, that are selfish, that are, very, the world needs to revolve around me. I don't really have a lot of care or, empathy for how you feel. I'm not considering your decisions in this. If it serves me, then let's run the plays. If it doesn't serve me, it's not a good play.
Yeah.
It's all about me. How can I manipulate you to understand that the football field, the game, the plays, the coach, and the owner, they're all me. And so if you can, be in alignment with what we all need, which is me, then we got a good game.
Yeah.
If not, flag on the play.
Right.
Narcissist, right? But again, to your point, if someone's showing up in some of those characteristics, which I believe all of us have some type of selfishness at some point, right? I'm not saying we're all narcissists, but we all can look at the DSM and say there's something in here, a symptom, whether it's depression, anxiety, narcissism, whatever it may be, adjustment disorder, that we can identify with. That doesn't mean we're that. Life causes impairments that makes it to where our emotions and who we are fluctuate from time to time. We are moving parts of a person. We are not one fixed thing. And so, yeah, I love that you said that people need to get out of the whole titling of you're a narcissist because you don't agree with me. But that's also a form of manipulation. If I got to tell you you're something to get you on my side or to be in agreement with me, then what are we really doing here?
Debating semantics. Okay, what about gaslighting? Because I feel like that's another trigger word that people love to use.
Yeah, so gaslighting is, I know that I came home late at 2 a.m. I was out cheating, and I walk in, you're upset with me. I know I'm wrong, right? You're mad. You're like, babe, it's 2 a.m. This is disrespectful. This is not okay. This is crossing my boundaries. We talked about this. And then I'm going to tell you like, huh? Like, really? Like, I don't say nothing when you go out with your girls to brunch and you may stay a little bit longer. You know what I mean? So how do you got a problem with me doing this? So one, I'm deflecting. Two, I'm not taking no accountability for the fact that I know I came in at 2 a.m. I know I was just fucking up. And I know that you have every right to question me and to have a conversation with me about boundaries we agreed on that I'm crossing. But I'm going to make you think that you are the problem. And not only that, but you are wrong right now. There is no issue. I haven't really crossed a boundary and you are tripping. So it's more about like, are you crazy?
Yeah.
For the faults that I've just created? No, absolutely not. Like I'm not. And then that becomes a vicious, dysfunctional cycle because gaslighting gets nowhere. There's no resolve in that. There's no accountability in that. And then, the person who's getting gaslight is always questioning themselves. Kind of like what you did. I'm not saying the guy gaslit you.
Yes.
But he did. You kind of gaslit yourself a little bit.
I also did. It was reverse.
And you gaslight yourself too because you're like, wait a minute, am I tripping? Am I going crazy?
Yeah.
Did he not call me for 3 hours? Did he not checking me? Am I the one that's wrong? It's like, no, girl, don't gaslight yourself.
Yeah.
He's inappropriate.
I have a girlfriend who, and I won't even say just one girlfriend, but I have a lot of conversations with my girlfriends specifically about their relationships. And I tell them all the time, like, a telltale sign of someone gaslighting you is that one question. Am I crazy? Because the homegirl will call you and be like, girl, am I tripping?
Am I tripping?
And by the end of the conversation, I'm like, you're not.
At all.
He's tripping. He's 100% tripping. So if y'all are listening and you find yourself asking that question a lot, every so often, okay, it's understandable. But if you're constantly feeling like, damn, am I crazy? Because I remember this happening, this happening, this happening. This was a result of someone's action.
I believe that when it comes to gaslighting, people can easily gaslight you when you already second guess yourself. It's very easy. It's very easy to be gaslit. When you don't self-actualize yourself, your experience, when you don't validate yourself, when you rely on outside validation a lot, or you rely on someone else giving you that confirmation or affirming you constantly, then you will easily be gaslit. No one can gaslight me on anything that I've gone through, I've experienced. I am self-aware enough to know if I showed up probably not in my best, I probably would own that shit. Like, yeah, I said that shit. Yeah, I did that shit. And no, it probably wasn't the right thing to do, but it was a real moment for me. And I don't think I should have to apologize for that unless I inflicted harm on another person, right? But if you don't self-actualize yourself, then yeah, you're going to easily be gaslit. So yeah, you're going to call up that homegirl like, girl, am I tripping? It's easy for men to gaslight women when you don't trust yourself. And I always say that trust your intuition, but trusting your intuition and building a stronger intuition, it always comes down to choosing yourself. Because in order for you to trust your intuition, you have to have self-trust. But if you don't develop that relationship through self-trust by choosing yourself, you're not going to have a strong intuition because you're not going to know when to trust it. Then you may also struggle with your emotions. So you don't know how to identify through self-awareness. You don't know how to identify when something is triggering you, when something is triggering your insecurities, when something is triggering a certain type of emotion, or if it's truly your intuition. A lot of this conversation has to do with the lack of development with self, which is why I'm always promoting self-development, because the more you pour into yourself, the stronger your relationship will be with self. So then you'll have a stronger intuition, you'll have a good relationship with self-trust, and you'll know the difference between, am I being insecure? Am I being emotional? Or is this really my intuition? And you should have like this process that you go through mentally where you check off, am I being insecure? So you check in with yourself. Am I being insecure? Am I being insecure? Am I being emotional? No, I'm not being insecure. I'm not being emotional. No, this is my intuition. When you do that process and you do it repetitively, you create that repetition repetitively, you develop a relationship with self, but you have to do it over and over and over again to where there will be times where you don't have to pause. You ever been around those women where, and they're older? That's why I always tell women, you get better with time. Don't listen to what men say. You get better with time. An older woman instantly knows. A younger woman, maybe a little hesitant. But the older you get and the more you develop that relationship with self, that intuition is going to be. Have you been around those older women where they be at the stove, they got their back turned, and somebody walk in their house and they already know who it is? Women get better with time. Women get better with time, but you have to develop that relationship. You cannot think that it's just going to happen. You got to work at it. Self-trust is choosing yourself. When I say choose yourself, right? This man is trying to gaslight you. You know what it is. You know exactly what it is. But are you going to choose yourself? Choose what you know. Choose what you saw. Choose what you heard. And choose what you experienced? Or are you going to choose that man and what the fuck he's saying? Self-trust is choosing yourself. That's all that it is. When you develop self-trust, that strengthens your intuition. No one can play with you. No one. Nobody's gonna be able to play with you. Nobody gonna be able to play in your face. No one can what do they love to do? Distort reality, put you in some type of illusion and have you so convinced of something that never happened. They never said it, they never did it. Self-trust is all about choosing yourself, choosing what you know, your voice, what you experience, what you heard when they said it. Now they telling you something else, but you know, like, no, you didn't say that. Or they try to, a narcissist would try to tell you they said some shit. When they get caught up in a lie, then they're going to try to convince you that they told you, but you just forgot. In that moment, are you going to choose what you know? And what you know that man didn't tell you that. But now he's trying to tell you, oh, no, I did tell you that. So who you going to choose? That man, which is outside of yourself, or are you going to choose self? That's what self-trust is. When I say choose yourself, that's what I'm talking about. A lot of women choose everyone outside of themselves, even when they know better. Even when they know without a doubt what it is and what it's not, but they still choose outside of themselves. And that's self-betrayal. When someone can come in and they can gaslight you like that and convince you of something that you know is not true, that's self-betrayal. You betrayed yourself to believe some bullshit. And sometimes it's because you want to be likable. You want to be peaceful. Sometimes it's because you want to be accepted. Sometimes it's because you want to be seen as good. You got to be okay with just being who you are and not caring what people think about that shit. Know what you know and stand 10 toes in it. And sometimes that means taking what you know over what someone else is telling you. And that's self-trust. So if you got to call a friend to verify, let's work on that. Let's work on that. Through repetition, let's work on that.
I'm so confused. I'm starting to question my own sanity.
There you go. That's it. But I want to.
And I almost forgot to mention, when you choose yourself over and over and over and over and over again, you develop a relationship where you get to a certain level in that relationship through experience where that doubt, that hesitation, it goes away. That, gone. Because now you have past experiences, right? Where you had that little hesitation, but you trusted yourself anyway. Or you had that little bit of doubt, but you trusted yourself anyway. You build this rapport with yourself, and you're like, no, I ain't been wrong. Those other 5 times, I ain't been wrong. So I'm gonna take my chances. And I'm gonna trust myself on this one again too. You'll build that rapport. When you build that rapport, you're gonna trust yourself more. So you got to give yourself that space to do that. You're not going to know right away. You got to build it. This is the self-work. This is the inner work. It takes time. It takes patience.
Clear this up, because gaslighting isn't two grown folks having a difference in opinion.
Yeah.
Just because I feel different about how you've seen or experienced the same circumstance doesn't mean I'm gaslighting you.
Yeah.
I could have really been in the car with you and seen the same person walk in front of us.
That's good.
And had a different perspective of how they walked or why they were walking or that they were upset. I could be saying they're upset for this, and you could be like, absolutely not. So we're just having a difference in opinion, which takes emotional intelligence for us to hold space for each other to think differently.
She's manipulating the audience, y'all. She just manipulated the audience. Let me explain. She's in the hot seat. So this tells me that this was done after the Breakfast Club. This was not done before the Breakfast Club, which means, Kayla, you dead ass wrong for posting this shit. And the reason I'm saying this is because she's in the hot seat, right? Listen back to what she said. Listen back to what she said. Let me go back.
Wrong. It's like, no, girl, don't gaslight yourself.
Yeah.
He's inappropriate.
I have a girlfriend who, and I won't even say just one girlfriend, but I have a lot of conversations with my girlfriends specifically about their relationships. And I tell them all the time, I'm like, a telltale sign of someone gaslighting you is that one question. Am I crazy? Because the homegirl will call you and be like, girl, am I tripping?
Am I tripping?
And by the end of the conversation, I'm like, you're not.
At all.
He's tripping. He's 100% tripping. So if y'all are listening and you find yourself asking that question a lot, every so often, okay, it's understandable.
Hold on, I'm finding it. Give me a sec.
But if you're constantly feeling like, damn, am I crazy? Because I remember this happening. This was a result of someone's action. I'm so confused. I'm starting to question my own sanity.
There you go. That's it. But I want to clear this up, because
here she goes. This is the manipulation. Here it is.
gaslighting isn't two grown folks having a difference in opinion.
Yeah.
Just because I feel different about how you've seen or experienced the same circumstance doesn't mean I'm gaslighting you.
Yeah.
That's manipulation.
Could have really been in the car with you and seen the same person walk in front of us.
That's good.
And had a different perspective.
She wants us to have a different perspective. You got to read in between the lines. She wants us to have a different perspective on what we all watched and what we all experienced, right? When it comes to her going to these different podcasts and things like that. Because she's in the hot seat for gaslighting people. Okay, she's reading the comments. She's seeing what people are saying about her. So she's basically saying that sometimes we can experience the same situation and circumstances, but all see something different or take something different away from it. So it's not really gaslighting. So she didn't really gaslight us, y'all. She didn't lie. She didn't have us going around like so convinced. And listen, unhealed people project through conversation. So because she's in the hot seat for gaslighting, you can't expect for her to answer this truthfully and honestly. And had a different perspective
of how they walked or why they were walking or that they were upset. I could be saying they're upset for this, and you could be like, absolutely not. So we're just having a difference in opinion, which takes emotional intelligence for us to hold space for each other to think differently, but not feel no type of way because you're not buying.
So we shouldn't feel no type of way. I just have a different perspective. I trademark Dr. Bryant, so I can use Dr. Bryant. That is gaslighting. So no, this lady that is trying to gaslight the public is not going to give you an educational response on gaslighting. Where, Kayla, And this is why you got to go to the licensed professionals, because you need to go to the licensed professionals. A lot of y'all talk to people and all they do is project their unhealedness on you, and they transfer that energy to you, and then you carry it away with the conversation. And that's what Kayla about to do, because she didn't really help her for real. She's so busy trying to cover her own ass when it comes to gaslighting and misleading people, because that's what gaslighting is misleading people and distorting the truth of situations, and to a point to where everyone you're trying to convince them to look at it differently, but that's not the reality. She went on these podcasts telling people that she was a doctor. She was a licensed professional.
Buying into my opinion, and I'm not here buying into yours.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just we just have differences on how we perceive something or experience it, and nobody's gaslighting anybody. Gaslighting is the main thing is when somebody is trying to convince you that what you know they did or said did not happen. Yeah. And you are crazy for the behaviors you and them both know they did.
Yeah.
That is gaslighting.
And let me tell you, it is a gaslighting epidemic out here, because y'all be talking about it on Instagram. Y'all not lying. Like, these niggas is gaslighting.
So she had to put in that disclosure before she actually dropped what it means to gaslight somebody, because she's in the hot seat for gaslighting people and making people and leading people on to believe that she was this doctor when she isn't. Dr. Bryant is trademarked, but she's not actually licensed, though. That's gaslighting. That's very misleading. And this is a Christian woman. And people, the internet is questioning why people are calling her out.
Lie to y'all, okay? Believe it when I tell you. You mentioned emotional intelligence, though, and I want to get into this chapter where you talked about feelings versus...
Yes, even when she gave that explanation, which I don't even feel like she really answered Kayla's question, she was talking about herself. Unhealed people do that a lot. They project. It leaks out. It just leaks out. They can't help it.
Emotion. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to read a little excerpt that really resonated with me. You said feelings cause problems and emotions don't. Feelings are reactionary. When we are in our feelings, we're often ready to go to war. Mm-hmm. Alternatively, emotions are a healthy expression. Emotions pause and ask what you need or are trying to attain in a situation or circumstance. Emotions, when felt and processed properly, are meant to help you navigate what's going on in your life. So I wanted to ask you specifically.
Yeah, not too much on all these, y'all, because, you know, I've been, listen, I had to go back. Mm-hmm. HEB done got out of hand. I had to go back to Aldi's. I ain't too good for Aldi's. Save a Lot. I ain't forgot where I came from, but we don't have a Save a Lot. I don't think we have Save a Lots down here. But listen, you got to do what you do, because these groceries is getting out of pocket. They're getting out of hand.
Because sometimes I feel like my feelings overpower my logic, and I want to be better with that. I don't want to be reactionary. I don't want to be in my feelings. I want to have, like you said, emotional intelligence. So what are some tools that I could use to become more refined in that regard?
The tool that I use is process before you produce.
Okay.
And it means you want to process, okay, what emotion am I feeling right now before I get into my feelings about it, right? Okay. Because emotions don't cause problems. They create resolution. Feelings cause more problems. So, hey, I'm angry. You know, like if it's me and you, right? I'm like, I'm angry. Kelly, you know, you're my best friend. I share some things with you. You pillow talk with your man. I know y'all do that. That's what couples do. But girl, I tell you things because you're my safe space. And in the future, I would appreciate it when I tell you stuff, it stays between us. If it can't, let me know, and I just won't tell you certain things. I'm okay with that.
Very grown,
right?
very adult.
Very grown. I'm in my emotion.
Yeah.
Okay? Let's transition over to my feelings.
Can I tell you what I would say?
Yeah.
Bitch, why the fuck would you go and tell that man what I told you in confidence when I told you to keep that between me and you, and now you over there running your mouth and he gonna tell his boys at the barbershop. Now everybody gonna know my business and we got beef.
And you supposed to be my best friend.
Yeah, see you guys at 3.
And this is why I don't tell you shit.
Catch these hands.
And I should have just known that you was hating. You've been hating for the past 2 years.
Yeah.
And she only did one thing. One thing. And you're like, wait.
I actually felt like she could have went a little deeper with that. And I would have started off with the triggers first, because your triggers, it's like your alarm system that triggers certain emotions and certain reactions when it comes to your behavior. So why is this triggering you? Well, you trusted your friend, and your friend went and told your business to her man that could potentially tell someone else, right? So that triggers you, right? Why does it trigger you? Maybe because you got betrayed from an ex-friend in the past, right? So now we need to address, are we still jaded from the ex-friend that betrayed our trust? we may need to heal some more of that in that area, right? Then we take it a step further. We take it a step further, like, damn, does that still bother me though? Why does that still bother me though? It does. It's interfering with the relationships that I currently have in my life. Then you can assert yourself when it comes to your friend. Okay. Ask her, why did she do that? Express how you feel, how it made you feel. If this person is open and receptive to it, where they're really hearing you out, they're not dismissing you, they're not downplaying what they did in the situation, they're not downplaying the fact that they also compromised the trust that the both of you shared, right? They're hearing you out, and then you set that boundary and say, hey, please, the things that I tell you, can you please not tell your boyfriend or your man? Because even if they were to have the conversation, Kayla is still going to be bothered by that. She's still going to get triggered by that, because now it's like, well, can I tell you? Can I really tell you what I'm going through? She may be a little more hesitant because, well, her past friendship, even though she may have confronted her friend about the situation, expressed to her how she felt, maybe her friend went behind her back again and said some things. So I think things have to be addressed at the root first, at the soil first, through the triggers first, and then at that point branch off from there and have that conversation with your friend, because you don't want to project on her too at the same time because of what the past friend did. So you want to unpack what the past friend did if it's being triggered from that place, and then go from there and then have that conversation with the current friend that you have. Set that boundary, express how you feel, set the boundary, and then move forward. But it could cause some later issues if you don't really address it at the root.
Wait a minute, you're catastrophizing. How did we get here, Kayla?
Yeah.
And that's when I'm like, what? Because you are in your feelings. And remember, your feelings, by the time you're in them, they are also accompanied by your triggers. So you're not just having a conversation with her about the issue right now. You're having a conversation about all the issues you've always had with her or girlfriends in general who you knew you couldn't trust. You just like them.
Yeah.
So this is why I'm in my feelings, because you trigger something in me. And trigger has to do with all of my past experiences, have nothing to do with the present. But my emotions are telling me how I feel right now. So let's deal with what's going on and how I feel now and get to the resolve.
Yeah.
And always ask people at the end, after you do your call of action, the call of action is, Kayla, moving forward, can you not tell my business to him? And if you are, let me know, and I would choose what I want to tell you. And you say yes, I say, can you commit to that? It sounds transactional, but you are setting a boundary. This is a transaction. Can you commit to that? So we're clear. If you say yes, I'm going to hold you to your commitments.
Yeah.
If you say no, I respect it. I just know I'll pick and choose what I tell you.
I said that to a girlfriend of mine who's no longer my girlfriend. I said, if this is the box that you would like to live in, let me know. And she pretty much was like, yeah. And I said, okay. And that box is going to be outside by pickup time, UPS.
Yeah.
Because you no longer will be a part of my life. You have to give people the opportunity, like you said, and the grace. We're all human. We make mistakes. But I love the idea of giving people the option and the understanding of, are you willing to make this commitment to me and my boundary? I feel like that's very mature and very healthy. Instead of just being reactive, which I'm a Scorpio. What's your sign?
Virgo.
You guys aren't very reactive, are you?
Very reactive?
Yeah.
No, we're very calm, but
She's a Virgo?
very spicy. You know, you have like Yana Van Zant's a Virgo. Beyonce's a Virgo.
Wow.
Yeah.
Legendary people.
Yeah, we got some I think Albert Einstein's a Virgo. Bill Gates is a Virgo. Michael Jackson is a Virgo. The list goes on and on.
Okay, special. Y'all got it. But I do. I love that. I love that boundary, and I love creating a dynamic where it feels safe to communicate that, like,
I hate she giving Virgos a bad rep. I like Virgos. My best friend is a Virgo. I don't like that she giving Virgos a bad rep. That's crazy. I don't play about my Virgos. That's I don't like that. I don't like that.
upset. It doesn't mean that you have to deny yourself the space to feel things, but communicating it in a place.
It definitely explains the trademark, though. It definitely explains that trademark.
Where you're calm and collected. You've already been, or before you get in your feelings, you do it. Or you go through your feelings, process it, and then speak from a place of emotion.
Yeah, and processing is your alone time.
Okay, yeah.
It's let me figure out what the fuck I got going on right now. Because that's really what most of us, at least I talk to myself, is like, okay, girl, what are you really feeling?
What's really the problem? Yeah.
What's really the issue?
Yeah.
Like, is it you having a bad day? Is it, you and your guy are off? Is it you about to start your menstrual? Did someone, for me at least, did somebody spark something about you on social media? You want to clap back, but your better self said don't. And so this is your best friend. You might want to clap on her because you can lay a load on her, but don't do it. So all of that I did that on purpose because that is what process looks like.
Yeah.
And you literally need to start to put associations into your emotion so you can say, okay, is it this? Okay. Am I tripping off this? Okay. Am I insecure over this? Okay. Am I mad for what she did 6 months ago and I just didn't say nothing? Okay. Why am I really so upset about this?
Right.
And then you compile all of that and then you ask yourself, okay, what is the message that I want her or him to receive? That's the difference between your emotions that are representing you and your feelings that are saying, I don't know the message. I'm just going to express and project.
She's giving the word salad. I just wanted to show y'all this video really quick because I wanted y'all to see. Whenever y'all be saying, what about Trump and what about Jeffrey Epstein? This is who y'all want to be like? That's who y'all want to be like? That's why, like, with the whole Jim Crow situation that's happening right now, they can do all of that. They can do all of that. And I still want to come back black. I don't want to be like them at all. At all. Not even for the privilege, not even for the leg up. Like, I don't want to be like them at all. So whenever y'all say stuff like that, it just sounds so ignorant to me. Like, why do you want to be like that? Look how happy they are. That's who y'all want to be like? Yeah, that can't be me. I don't want to be like that. And then let me show you this too, since we on here. Hold on, let me see.
Thought I'd see the day where I agree with Jamal Bryant, the pastor of New Birth Church, on anything. But this woman right here, Dr. Cheyenne Bryant.
I thought it was pretty sinister and demonic too. I thought it was very sinister. I'm like, I don't want to be like that.
Dr. Cheyenne Bryant has been making her rounds.
A little triggered over there? A little triggered? Because you both have what the Bible.
Crazy take here. She's saying that couples that are not married should bathe with each other and have no sex. What in the world type of take is this? Let's play the video clip and then we'll discuss it when we get back.
First of all, it's dangerous to put a woman in a position like that. It's kind of like when I tell you, if a man is flying you out, don't be naive about why he's flying you out. Don't be. If a man is paying for something and he just buying and doing, don't be naive about that. Because most men are transactional. They're not buying and paying and flying you out for free. They want something from you. So this is just very dangerous to me. I would never tell a woman this.
Not together. No sex. Because you both have what the Bible says marriage requires. Discipline. To take a bath together.
Hey.
And have a conversation. A little triggered over there? A little triggered?
No, I just gotta couch this. I gotta couch this. Don't take that bath until y'all get that ring on there.
Until you get that discipline too. Discipline.
Yeah, don't do it.
Discipline.
You're gonna make me lose my license. Listen, she's talking to married people. It's different, a heightened level. Thank you.
And let me say this. Yes. I'm also talking to unmarried people. Because
don't get in that bathtub.
If you have the true essence of discipline.
Yeah, no.
She don't like the fact that this man ain't agreeing with her. Y'all see that look on her face?
They ain't got it.
But there are some men that do.
Yeah.
And let me go further. Because a
they
man
must teach Tai Chi.
Because you're supposed to save your chai tea,
yes,
which is really your sperm,
yes,
until you're doing something that's productive, fruitful, and will multiply.
Get in the tub with a bathing suit on. Don't just get in there.
Let me say this, ladies and fellas. Let me say these, ladies and fellas. A man who could bathe with you and be disciplined enough to not touch you is a reassurance for you. Taking a bath together.
Now, I disagree with Jamal Bryant on a lot of things. A lot of things. But man, for Jamal Bryant to be the one to come to the realization or to speak truth in this, man, it just tells you how far off this lady is, man. Now, like I said, she's been all over social media right now. Like, I didn't even know who she was until like 2 or 3 days ago. And frankly, I don't care to know any more about her because this is her take on things. And if she's presenting this to Christians, not even just Christians, but men and women in general, saying that you're supposed to be disciplined. Yes, that is.
And again, like, let me make myself clear. The reason why she is being called out is because church people are calling her out. Professionals, licensed professionals are calling her out. Because it's misleading. It's misguiding people. That's why. Now, if she didn't attach herself to the church and Christianity, if she didn't attach herself to being this licensed professional, no one would care. No one would care. She has attached herself to these things. So people are calling her out for that because it eliminates confusion. This woman is nothing but chaos. It just eliminates confusion. So I think that that's fair. I'm not for dogpiling and all of that stuff too, but it's like you're speaking, you're guiding from a place of Christianity and being this licensed professional. That's very dangerous, y'all. Y'all cannot downplay that. I don't know why the Black community is kind of, not all of you, but it's that other side where it's like y'all trying to downplay that. But I'm just like, this lady asserted herself and created all of these labels, and she didn't have to do that. She didn't have to do that at all. And she still would have gotten, I believe, where she is today without doing all of that. There's nothing wrong with being seen as just a life coach. If you feel like what you do is purposeful, there's nothing wrong with that. And then if you're going to be a Christian woman, you can't be promoting this type of stuff.
Self-control is a fruit of the spirit, right? But nowhere are we supposed to tempt one another lustfully. Nowhere are we come on now. Y'all know what that's going to lead to. Getting in the tub with anybody, such a close quarters. There's no tub in the world big enough to where you guys won't be able to touch. We think this is a hot tub. You guys are going to be seeing each other nude. You guys are going to get all aroused and stuff, and then it's going to go down. You're not strong enough to resist that. And nowhere are we supposed to tempt one another. Let me pull up some Bible verses, guys. So we have Matthew 5:28 and 29. It says, "But I say to you that everyone who looks at a woman with lustful intent has already committed adultery with her in his heart. If your right eye causes you to sin, tear it out and throw it away. For it is better that you lose one of your members than your whole body to be thrown into hell." Why would you even risk it? Why would you even hop in a tub and then look at someone with lust, right? There's no logic in this. 1 Thessalonians 4.
And when it comes to her supporters, y'all know I'm not religious. Okay. So I don't have a dog in this fight. But like, y'all don't see nothing wrong with that. If you are religious, like, do y'all not see the people that are religious and you support her? Do you not see something wrong with that?
3 and 5 says, 3 through 5 says, "For this is the will of God, your sanctification, that you abstain from sexual immorality, that each one of you know how to control his own body in holiness and honor, not in the passion of lust like the Gentiles who do not know God." Yes, so she's spinning this from a narrative of discipline, of self-control. But the discipline and the self-control is to know that this act of bathing with someone that you're not married to isn't holy to begin with, as this Bible verse says, to control your body in holiness. Not control your body in temptation, not control your body in lustfulness, because yes, while you can control your body in temptation and that be godly, the type of temptation that you put yourself into matters. There's no sin in being tempted, right?
But that's also like having a good relationship with self. That's like having a good relationship with self. Don't go to that man's house. You go into that man's house this late at night and you know you are abstinent. You want to take things slow. Y'all are taking things slow. Why are you going so late at night to his house? Why are you packing that overnight bag? You putting clean underwear in there? Why are you putting clean underwear in there? You know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't put yourself in that position. You just wouldn't.
Something tempts you. It's how you react to the temptation.
But that's also self-accountability though, too. Because before you choose to do something, yeah, like, why are you shaving your legs? Why are you doing all of that? But it's also there's self-accountability. You know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. You know what you're doing when you putting that top on. You know what you're doing when you putting them pants on. You got to be accountable for stuff like that. If you know that your standard is to reframe and be abstinent from sex, then you know that we have to be self-accountable and carry yourself a certain way. Not put yourself in that position where you're tempting yourself. You're setting yourself up for failure or potential failure.
But this right here, this is definitely dangerous. 1 Corinthians 6:18-20. Flee from sexual immorality. Every other sin a person commits is outside the body, but the sexually immoral person sins against his own body. Or do you not know that your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit within you, whom you have from God? You are not your own, for you were bought with a price. So glorify God in your body. Now, a lot of times people use this Bible verse when referring to self-pleasure, right? But I think that this verse also applies to tempting someone else with your body, because your body, yes, we're made beautifully, right? God made sex. There's a beautiful reason for it. Not only for reproduction, but also to show love to our partner, to our spouse, to our husband and wife, right? Not for no boyfriend, not for nobody in a dating relation, not for nobody in no hookup culture. None of that, guys. And for this woman to be blown all up over social media, maybe it's her fake credentials.
Ooh.
Maybe it's her bad takes on topics that have got her all, in everybody's timeline right now. But this right here is crazy. It's diabolical. James 1.
Allegedly.
Project onto you what I feel, and you finna catch this raft.
You better these hands.
That's it.
These hands, okay?
Yeah, she ready to put them hands, y'all. She can skip the whole process talking part. That's it.
God's still working on me. Okay, He's working on me. Pray for me. Thank you.
He's pruning you too. He got you going deeper. Oh Lord have
How
mercy.
deep? How low can you go? Okay, God, enough is enough. Okay, there's another excerpt from this chapter that really resonated with me because I recently was on a podcast and they asked me what are the 3 qualities in a man that I'm looking for. And at the top of the list was emotional intelligence. And that kind of like took them, because I feel like I need someone. I need a leader and I need someone who is emotionally intelligent and sound, who can communicate safely. But look, this is what you said in the book, because I was still figuring.
Ooh, and not to go off on a tangent. I've been thinking if I should do like a separate video for this. But ladies, please, you're seeing all of the violence, right? With women in intimate relationships, a lot of DV. You're seeing how they're unaliving not only themselves but us, the children. If you get with a man that is not emotionally intelligent, the chances of him abusing you or you being in a DV relationship is highly likely, because that's a man that doesn't know how to self-regulate his emotions. So he probably doesn't even know how to self-regulate if he's having mental health issues, mental health struggles. He does not know how to regulate at all. So I know for the last few years now, you've heard me say that, oh, I'm not dating because most men don't have emotional intelligence. And that's the first thing that I look for outside of integrity is emotional intelligence. And most men do not have that. They don't know how to self-regulate themselves in that way. They expect for a woman to come in and do that. And when they have that standard for you to come in and help them self-regulate, that puts your life in danger, because that man is going to take it out on you if things don't go the way that he wants things to go. And I believe that that is the driving force behind what we are seeing. And I'm not saying that in a way to blame the victim of these DV situations. I'm saying that as like a self-awareness. Okay, be aware that when I say I'm looking for a man that's emotionally intelligent, that has integrity, I know exactly what I'm saying, because if you get with a man that's not emotionally intelligent, emotionally available, that knows how to emotionally regulate, that's dangerous. It's very dangerous. So 2 things before we talk about financial stability: integrity, emotionally intelligent, emotionally self-regulated. Emotionally aware. You can't be his everything. You can't just come in and do all of that. He has to know how to do that for himself. It puts you in harm's way. So there's a real reason, there's a real purpose behind why I say that. I'm not just saying it because it sounds good. It's a level of protection. Look for that emotional intelligence. And you're going to have to take your time because, you know, some of these men, they use therapy language and therapy talk. But again, people perform. So you have to make sure that that person is not performing, that they are who they claim themselves to be. Take your time and slow down.
Figuring out what emotional intelligence actually means because it sounds good.
Yeah,
right?
that's why I said why.
Yeah,
Okay.
it sounds good.
Okay.
So look, in the book you said, emotional intelligence is the ability to manage and articulate one's emotions in a way that empowers, heals, and builds. It is your ability to empathize and connect with others from a place of maturity and insight, often resulting in healthy communication and disarming conflict. And I underlined disarming conflict because I need somebody in the heat of the moment to be able to say, hey, let's take a beat. Let's not handle this with our feelings.
You need to do that, Kayla. I'm sorry. You are a grown ass adult. You are a grown woman. You need to do that. And I love the new age parents because the new age parents, I feel like a lot of you have the patience where you're slowing down and you're helping your child regulate. And when they grow up to become adults, they won't be like Kayla, who is expecting someone outside of themselves to regulate for them. They will know how to do it for themselves. That's all that this is. You can be that person for yourself. You cannot expect for people to know what you're thinking, know what you're feeling. You can't expect for people to know that. And that's what toddlers do. When toddlers are having a tantrum, they expect for you to know why they're upset. They expect for you to know how they feel and why they feel the way that they feel. You are a grown person and you're expecting another grown person to know how you feel. You have to open up your mouth, and sometimes that requires you to self-regulate before you open up your mouth because you may be projecting. You may be creating something into nothing because you didn't self-regulate before you opened up your mouth. These are things that adults need to do themselves and stop expecting for others to do it for them. And all emotional intelligence is, when I say emotionally regulate, you are sorting out your feelings, you're sorting out your emotions. And you're piecing together why you feel the way that you feel and where it's coming from emotionally. And then you need to process that. You need to go over what the person may have said in your mind or out loud, what the person may have did, what the situation is, and regulate, sort it out. If you got to repeat it over and over in your head until you get a better understanding, then maybe that's what you need to do. But you got to sort that out first. And then when you go to them, you will be way more confident in how you feel and why you feel the way that you feel. And that conversation can go either way. And that just makes you a better communicator.
Let's handle this with our emotions.
Question. Where's your accountability at?
I know.
When do you regulate yourself? When do you say, wait a minute, this is when I check myself?
Yes.
And this is when I have my own emotional maturity and I say, girl, you are taking it too far.
Well, that's what I'm working on. I do feel like
So you want him to be there while you working to get there.
Yeah.
Okay, good. But let me ask you this. How would that end up being an enabler for you? Because if he steps in to regulate you, now you're back leaning on your codependency. You're looking for a leaner.
I was about to say, that's
because if he's going to say, baby, listen, we don't do that. Let's will it back. That's him doing your work.
Yeah.
That's the codependency.
And then when you're relying on someone outside of yourself in that way, they can manipulate you. They can weaponize the position that they have over you and use it for their own selfish benefits. So you want to listen, ladies, you want to be a self-made woman in a world that is so corrupt and so fucking weird. You in predatory on women, you want to be self-made, hun. You have to be self-made. That's the only way you're gonna be safe. You gotta be self-made. The reason why the system has taught you from a very young age to depend on all of these things outside of yourself is because it serves the system. It serves men, but it does not serve you. So you want to be self-made so you can serve you, not the system and not men. That's what that is. So be self-made. Aim to be self-made through self-improvement.
See, that you're saying you're attempting to break, or God is after you said your prayer, but then you're saying, I want a man who is going to be an enabler to my codependency.
But in my mind, the way that I painted it, I was just thinking,
so now you gaslight me.
Yeah.
Oh, hell no. So now you gaslight me?
look, in my head, what I was thinking was,
See, what she's not going to
the
do is
man's supposed
gaslight
to
me
lead. I'm supposed to follow.
on her own couch. We're not going to do that here, okay?
In all honesty, though, when I heard emotional intelligence, just because I feel like I have a lot of conversations like this, I'm in a place in my life where I'm actively trying to be just a better person all the way around. And that comes with regulating your emotions.
Got it.
And being, an avid communicator, a good listener. You're forgiving and you're understanding, and you react with patience and grace and not always just like, gusto and slap
Another
people.
question.
Yes.
Are you looking for a man who wants a child or a woman?
Take a sip. A woman. A woman.
You sure?
Yeah.
You sure?
You're saying, do I
Cause how old is Kayla? Aren't we around the same damn age? She act like a child. I'm sorry, emotionally, she acts like a child. Because I'm like, girl, she very dependent. Yeah, she 34. I'm 34. And see, this is what I'm saying. The girls will put all the work in when it comes to their outer world, outer persona, right? But they don't do the self work, and it stunts you. It really does. It stunts you emotionally. So some of the men that she's probably bumping into, and that's why I said you sometimes attract what you are. If you're emotionally childish and immature, you're gonna attract other emotionally childish and immature people into your life because they're meeting you where you are emotionally. So that means similar communication styles, similar emotional regulations, which may be lack thereof. So she's meeting people where she's at. If she wants to attract better communicators, it's going to require her to be a better communicator. That's going to naturally increase her standards. So she has to, because I'm telling you, she's not even going to be attracted to the type of men that she's probably attracted to right now. Your emotional maturity is creating that attraction too. Why are you attracted to men that are like that? That should be a huge turnoff.
Do I want to be coddled as a child, or do I want to be treated with the respect and adoration of a woman? I'll pick woman, I think.
Which one do you want?
Woman for 500.
So
woman comes with being a woman comes with responsibility. And it's so crazy. And listen, I'm not ganging up on Kayla. I feel like there's some growth that needs to happen there. But a lot of women have her mindset. It's very childish. It's very, 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 very childish. It reminds me of I don't want to work. I want a man to do this and to do that. They don't want to do anything for themselves, not even self-regulate your emotions. You want that man to come in and self-regulate your emotions? I want him to come in and just tell me why. So you want a man to self-regulate your emotions. You want a man to buy you this and buy you that. You want a father. You don't want a man. You don't want someone of your equal. You want a father. You want a authoritarian type of person. You don't want an equal. And that's very childish. And there's plenty of men that will sign up for that. There's plenty of men that will sign up for that. But is that what you really want for yourself? To be a woman means that you have to be responsible. You have to be accountable.
Okay, I don't know. I think the universe. The universe is saying,
I want child.
So the way you describe how you want to show up,
yeah,
and how you want to be facilitated, is more like a child.
Really?
Oh,
because the woman is accountable. A woman has her own emotional intelligence.
Ooh.
A woman has her own level of high functioning that says, you know what? Hold on. I'm out of pocket right now. And although I'm upset with whatever we're talking about, my bad. I apologize. I shouldn't have said that.
Well,
you know what? I can
accountable I
regulate
am.
my own emotions.
I'm very accountable. I don't have an issue apologizing or being told about
But
myself.
is that after he says, babe, we don't do this,
Yes.
relax?
I would argue, I don't know about being accountable. I don't know about that. Because honestly, even publicly, and this is just me observing what I've seen publicly, I don't feel like Kayla has taken accountability publicly either. She avoids it. She runs from it. And this explains a lot. Because typically how you show up in your relationships is it bleeds into how you show up publicly too.
Of
Calm
course.
down. But that's after he
prove to me in
called
the court of
you.
law that I
But,
did.
but look at that, Kayla.
And it's the reason why she keeps finding herself in these like online scandals consistently. The lack of accountability. And this explains a lot. Like this explains her mindset.
That's
No, that's
after
real.
he coddled you, right?
That's
So
real.
if you think of a parental
That's real,
approach,
yeah.
it's we tell our kids, excuse me, we don't do that here. We don't jump on people's couch, baby. And then the kid gets down, and then I say, baby, look at Kayla and tell her you apologize for getting her couch dirty. That's me parenting, right? But an adult who comes in here either would never jump on the couches, but if they got their foot on your couch and they dirty, they're like, girl, I'm sorry, my bad. Where's the wipies? Let me atone. Let me clean up. What's going on? And so us women, we have to be very careful of the kind of men we want and the kind of men we are attracting. Two different things. Law of attraction is not law of assertion. So I'm going to calibrate attract that at which who I am.
And see, she would do so well in like a life coach. I don't y'all, what's wrong with being a life coach? What's wrong with that? What is wrong with that? There's purpose in that. There's recognition in that. I don't understand. Like what is that? I don't understand. What's wrong with being called that? You don't got to be an expert in this. It's all about how you impact people.
I am. Not that at which what I want. So there's so many women, men, y'all gonna love this for a minute because I'm about to have your back because you always get on me and say I'm so pro woman when I am very fair with both genders.
Yeah.
There's so many women that want to be a wife, that want to be married. They do not have the wife abilities to do that. And so they're getting into relationships, let's just say with a man who is prepared, who is.
I hate the wife abilities. I want to say they don't have the right mindset. And that has a lot to do with immaturity. I don't like the whole wife thing because I it gives trad, which is more back to childlike. Because if these men could marry kids, I do believe that they would. I mean, this country is built on that. The Bible, no shade, is built on marrying children and having and little girls having kids. It's all up and through that Bible. But I'm saying like it kind of reverts back to being a child in the mind. What I'm saying is it's more so that they lack the mentality of a woman that really knows herself and knows how to show up in the space of being a wife and truly being committed in a partnership. And I think they're more in that childlike mindset and mentality where they really don't get past. Honestly, I feel like most women don't get past the ring, the wedding. I feel like most women don't get past the fantasy of it all. Cause listen, marriage takes, it's a lot, y'all. It's a lot. It's a lot. The reason why it's a lot is because at times it can be very emotionally exhausting and that can take a toll on your physical body. So I feel like women don't consider that. They just go into it with this childlike mindset and they have that fantasy and they just stay there. And then when they're in it and they don't really know themselves, they don't really know what they signed up for. I think that that's the issue.
Is ready. And she doesn't have the ability to nest in his leadership. So how do you
Yeah,
let the
she
head of the
do.
relationship, which is the husband, lead you, Nick?
Listen, she makes great points at times and at other times, but no. I like what she's telling Kayla here because this is real.
He can't. And if you don't have the ability to have emotional maturity or high functionality with him, then he's spending more time parenting you than he is leading you. Those are two different roles. And so either you want a daddy or you want a daddy. And a grown woman like me, I want a daddy. There's a difference. And but us women, we gotta come on. See, that's what you want. That's what she wants, y'all.
To each is their own. That's all I gotta say to that.
That's what she wants.
No, that is a Mariah side of the viral clip. Y'all got nothing to do with me. That's, you don't remember that when she was in the jail cell talking to Young Thug? She's like, Daddy, you
Oh, God.
baby. Is that me? Am I the problem?
I ain't saying you the only problem, but we have to be careful what we are calibrating, because if we, and another thing I have to say, singlehood is a place where we should be in pre-marital preparation, pre-marital counseling. We don't wait until we're engaged or in a relationship to say we want premarital counseling.
I agree with that too. I saw this video on TikTok where this girl came out and she said all the weddings that she went to last May, they're divorced. I said, damn, already? I feel like back in the day, you had to go to premarital counseling, and I don't recommend this. You used to go to your pastor for that. The first wife, the first lady, and the pastor for that premarital counseling. But it don't seem like people doing that nowadays. I today in modern times, I would say go to a relationship therapist so you can learn your partner and understand them from a place of what's their love language, what's their communication style, how can you approach them in conflict, things like that. And I feel like that may be part of the issue, and learning more about your partner in those different seasons that your marriage may go through. And I wouldn't go old school, like back in the day type, like let me go talk to pastor and the first lady, but a relationship therapist, a marital relationship therapist. Yes, I think y'all need to go back to doing that if you're gonna go into marriage, for sure. He proposed. Now you're the fiance. Let's go have some sessions, learn each other from a psychological standpoint of what works for your partner, what doesn't, what works within conflict, what doesn't, what works in communication, what doesn't, what works in grief, what doesn't. I mean, you got to learn your partner in that way.
What are you doing in your singlehood? Your singlehood, ladies and fellas, is when, if you're ready. Now, if you still want to be out there outside, then baby, be outside.
Yeah.
But if you are ready, right, for a marriage, then you should be preparing for the readiness that you want to be able to attract. Because then you get into the relationships and you're like, girl, he's out having drinks or at a bar at a club and he ain't calling for 2 or 3 hours. Well, how did you calibrate, one, and what made you even choose the type of guy? Because there's signs of everything that we all are at the beginning of when we're having conversations and things that we do. The first time he does that, that's called a sign. So let me tell you something. Men and women will do something the first quarter, and y'all decide to stay 4 fucking quarters. That's your fault.
That'd be an overtime.
That ain't their fault.
That'd be an overtime.
See?
No, for real, y'all. Don't do it. The way that marriage start, that's how it's gonna end. Don't do it. I always tell y'all, you gotta go get you a new man. You allowed this and this and this and this. Gotta get a new man. You gotta start all over. I'm sorry, you do. Cause when you go into that relationship, and listen, they gonna test you, because that's what they do. When you go into that relationship, your standard stays here. If it drops, you done fucked up. You done fucked up. Trust me, y'all. I've literally heard it from older women. They allow all this stuff to go on when they dated, earlier parts in their marriage. And now that they're towards the end of it, the man is older. Now they want him to change and do all. No. You should have set that tone in the very beginning. How that relationship starts is how it's going to end. That's just how men are. That is how they are. So how you get him, he going to stick to that. So don't let that man lower your standards because you getting comfortable around him and all of that type of stuff. Hold true to your standards. Stand 10 toes down in it. And if you don't, you will regret it later.
Doc, I be in overtime.
Don't
triple
do it.
overtime. It's like, bitch, what are you still doing?
Why are you still here? Kayla, why are you still calling his phone nonstop? In overtime. The season is over. Not even the game. The season is over.
Make a trade.
The fans and audience have left.
They're doing jersey swaps. Bitch, what are you still doing there?
ESPN done cut the whole game. It's a whole new game.
No, for real.
A whole new.
Wait, that brings me to another question too, because there's been so much discourse recently about cheating and infidelity and why men cheat and how could you cheat on, the most talented, beautiful women of all time. We're not gonna have that conversation.
Yeah.
But I am curious to know, because I think cheating in relationships is it's becoming a normalized thing. I feel like a lot of people have experienced it. I know that almost every woman in my life has experienced some form of cheating. Curious to know if you think that in a relationship, if someone is unfaithful, do you feel like infidelity should be a deal breaker, or do you think that you can come back
Yes.
from it?
Hard yes. Deal breaker. Let me tell you why. The only time I can.
Why are we even asking that question? Yes, it should be a deal breaker. It should. Because we women have way more to lose. I'm sorry. You got way more to lose when it comes to having that man's kid. You got way more to lose when it comes to giving that man your body sexually. So yeah, you got to have deal breakers in place. You have to have guardrails in place to protect yourself. And once that man violates your trust when it comes to you giving your body away, we done here. That man can give you something and then leave you to deal with it. Can give you a baby and leave you to deal with it. If you gonna just tolerate that type of stuff, then you don't really care about yourself like that. That's how I see it. And then this another thing too. The reason why it's truly, truly a deal breaker for me is because I know myself well enough to know that I won't like the version of myself that I have to become in order to stay after a situation like that. I'm going to be insecure. I'm going to be questioning every little thing. I'm always going to doubt what he says, what he does. If he says he's here, he's doing this. I don't want to be that version of myself. I won't like her. I already know. I won't like it. So you have to know yourself so much where, yeah, that's not for me because I don't like the version of myself that I have to be to tolerate some shit like that. It really don't have nothing to do with the man for real. It got everything to do with me and how I see myself and how I feel about myself after the fact. And I don't like the version of myself that I would have to become to stick around. So no, we're done here. Listen, you made your choice and now I'm making mine. And when I make my choice, I'm going to be just as selfish as you were when you made your choice. I'm not considering you at all. I'm only considering myself.
And say it shouldn't be a deal breaker, and this is me being sarcastic, because the person you fell in love with in your experience and in your ideology was that of a person.
And this is such a great point. You can either choose between losing him. No, you can either choose between him losing you or you losing yourself. That's how I look at infidelity. That's how I look at someone betraying you. You choose between him losing you or you losing yourself. I'm going to choose me every single time. I'm going to choose me every single time.
Who was faithful. If you met the person from the beginning and they said, hi, I'm going to cheat on you, most people in their right mind are not going to say, all right, let's do this healthy relationship. You would already know what you're signing up for, so then it wouldn't be cheating.
Right.
Because it's something you agreed upon.
Yeah.
If you can learn to love a dog, if you can learn to love a cheating woman who is a different woman or man that you came into this relationship knowing and loving, then maybe you can stay. I've yet to see people stay into a relationship after infidelity and be able to love or trust the same. It doesn't happen. Can they stay? Yes.
Right.
But if they're able to stay and nothing changes, it's because you already knew the dog you was with from the beginning. So you already came into it loving the dog, loving this woman who was a manizer. And now because the dog barked on year number 5, you're like, oh, I didn't know you were a Yorkie. Yes, the fuck you did. You knew that. You knew you was in here with a whole cane corso. You knew that. You knew that by his actions, his behaviors. You decided not to see it. But since it barked so loud, not just at the neighbor's door, but it barked in your bedroom, in that cell phone that you checked, your friends now know when you're embarrassed. Now you want to say, girl, he's a dog. Your girls knew when he had a lustful eye. Your girls knew when he was doing things that were inappropriate.
Yeah.
They just didn't want to tell you because they knew that you wanted to eclipse it. They knew you didn't want to know. So you want to be masked from the truth.
And at this point, ladies, cheat back. Hell, cheat first. I don't know. Because what are
Here go her immature mindset coming out again. Girl, just walk away. That's what I'm saying. Immature women play those childish ass games. Walk the fuck away. Why lower yourself to get back at somebody? Just walk away. Do better. Look good. But to reduce yourself to just cheating back and all and playing it tit for tat, it's just the relationship will never prosper. And to be honest, once trust is broken, the foundation of the relationship is done. And it is done. And one thing that I'm noticing that women, we collectively struggle with is letting go. Let it go. There's so much more out there for you, but you got to let this go to make room for what's new out there for you. You got to let go what does not serve you so that you can create that space for new to come in. But you got to stop thinking ain't nothing else out there. You got to stop thinking ain't nothing else out there.
what are we supposed to do? I'm going to speak from me and my personal experience, and I've gotten hell for admitting this, but I've been in multiple relationships, and in every relationship I have been cheated on.
Do you think it's possible for women to choose a man who is not a cheater? Or you think that women go into it blinded and all of a sudden, year 3?
Kayla, every relationship you've been in, a man has cheated. That tells me you have a type. And your type does not like you. That may be harsh, but if you keep getting into relationships with men and they keep cheating on you, your type don't like you like that. Change your type. Change your type. Because how is it that you keep meeting a new guy, every relationship, they still cheat? It's your type at that point. Because there's a pattern that comes with that. There is a pattern that comes with who you're choosing. You keep choosing and you keep getting cheated on, then you got to change something within yourself. Because at that point, it's not, oh, this man cheated, that don't got nothing to do with me. Because that's just that one guy. But if you keep choosing men and they all keep doing the same thing, it's your type. Now you got to reevaluate yourself. But see, that's the responsibility of self-accountability. Like, you have to take responsibility of what you yourself is choosing at that point. And that's what a lot of women don't want to do. A lot of women don't want to be like, oh, okay, this is, and listen, I've done it. I've been in situations where I'm like, why do I keep attracting emotionally unavailable men? And it's the same shit. It took the third guy where I sat the fuck down, like, what the fuck am I doing? Where I keep attracting the same damn experience. Oh, it clicked. I'm not all that emotionally available. I'm not all that certain about commitment my damn self. I'm showing signs that I could be non-committal. So I'm going to attract that. But it does. It takes time, because it takes time for you to pick up, okay, yeah, there is a pattern. It took me going through 3 different guys at different times for me to see that, like, damn, I do keep dating. Like, I keep having the same experiences. Like, it's a new guy. But it's like similarities. There's too many similarities. And I'm like, okay, it's something in me now, because it's not that I'm just having this one isolated experience. If you're having this one isolated experience, okay, right? That's on them. But when you're not having isolated experiences, there's a continuation, there's a cycle, there's a loop, then at that point, that's a reflection of you, and you may need to do some work on yourself. Because it could be, I don't know, it could be a lot of different things. It could be, maybe you have an unhealthy approach to connecting to people in relationships and things like that. Or maybe what you're attracted to is based off of unhealthy things within yourself when it comes to relationships. So it just may be something that you have to evaluate within yourself through therapy. I recommend therapy, because therapy is really good for having someone that is licensed point out the blind spots and bring certain things to your awareness so that you can unpack that. And it may lead to trauma, PTSD, and things like that. So you need to unpack that. You need to have someone that is licensed that's going to do that. You can still get a life coach. You can still get a mentor, but that work has to be done. That has to be done. You have to do therapy to unpack that. But if you keep having the same experiences, that's your telltale sign that you probably need therapy. And I don't mean that in a negative way. Therapy is great. I liked it. But you got to like your therapist. Shop around. Find somebody that you connect to, that you feel is easy to talk to, that maybe has a similar outlook to you. Like, you're going to have to shop around. I hear a lot of people where they have a negative experience with a therapist, and they just went to therapy once and that was it. You got to shop around. I recommend therapy for blackgirls.com. They have a directory. And if you don't even find somebody in your city that you like on there, they have online sessions that you can have as well. So you could choose someone that you feel like you would be really comfortable with. And you may have to go to a few different consultations and figure out, who you want to be treated by. Because again, it's all about who you're wanting to be treated by. It's not that you just go to therapy and that's it. So you're going to have to shop around a little bit. I know I had to.
3, 4, 5, you're like, I never thought he was this type of guy, but he was at the club and didn't text me at 3, 4 hours. That is the habit of a cheater. Why did I not believe him when he showed me who he was day one?
I think for me, it was more so I was definitely blindsided.
Okay.
There were a couple in there where
Different
it was
ones, right.
all right, I knew this is what, like you said, I know a dog. If it walks like a dog, bark like a dog, okay, you dog. I'm not shocked. But there were a few in there where I was like, I had to call her and be like, bitch, you will never guess what I just said. People were literally shocked by that. And also, I think over time, I started to myself
accept it,
normalize it. Like, this is just what happens in relationships.
Or especially probably in this field of who I'm dating.
Absolutely.
I got you.
You start to tell yourself that. Well, and it's happening to everybody. You know, if she can get cheated on, who am I to say that I won't get cheated on?
But that's environment.
Yeah.
Because it's not happening to everybody. There are a lot of successful marriages. I know a lot of men who I work with, and I am a gorgeous woman. And these men are happily married and will tell me very quick, look good, shy, but that's about to fuck it. Been in my field 18 years. You know, as a psychology expert and life coach, and I deal with women all the time who are dismantled in my session. It is a level of pain that, believe it or not, a lot of people don't recover from. You know, cheating is something that is deeper than just a quick, lustful, physical satisfaction in the moment. That's why I say cheating is a narcissistic act. Cheating is a character defect.
Ooh.
Cheating is an integrity defect. Cheating is selfish as fuck. You cannot care about somebody and cheat. Those two cannot coexist. I asked a man in session earlier when he said, no, I think, you know, I can care about my woman and my wife and still cheat. I said, let me ask you something. I said, would you sell your 4-year-old daughter to a man that you knew was a pedophile for $4 billion? He said, hell no. I said, you don't have to think about that. Yeah, you don't think about that at all. And I know that sounds far-fetched. What I'm saying is that, I'm saying is you wouldn't do that because you protect, care, and you are covering that child at all costs. You see, the Bible says that Jesus tells husbands, love your wife like Jesus loves the church. Well, Jesus died for the church. The church is who set him up to be crucified by the Romans. And so when he tells y'all to love your wives like he loves the church, are you willing to die for this woman? You want to die for them girls? You would put up a fight before you take that $4 billion. If you can't feel like that about a woman, fellas, then you are not ready for marriage. Because if a woman is just something that you see as someone to have on your arm, is someone who you can sleep with and have satisfaction with, that is no difference than a girlfriend or a woman you were just sleeping with. A wife is a whole different caliber of how you operate and how you protect and how you cover her as her husband. And ladies, if he's not showing up to cover everything about you, but all he can do is penetrate your body, why in the fuck are you married to him?
What's the point of it all? That's what I was about to say. What's the point of it all if it's all gonna just be some surface level stuff? What is the point about it? I might as well just be single. If it's just gonna be surface level like that, transactional.
That's a you problem. Again, if a man is not respecting you enough to return a phone call, then why in the fuck are you allowing him to penetrate your body?
Yeah.
Never. In a day, you can't even call me back, bro. A text message?
You talked about on a podcast recently that you had found someone, I don't know if this is maybe like a year ago now, but you said that you took your IUD out because you were preparing yourself to potentially have kids.
Yeah.
Are you still in that space? Are we still involved with it?
I ain't putting the thing back in.
You didn't put it back?
No. So I didn't take it out because I was in a relationship. I took it out because I was like, okay, God, I'm removing it. I'm preparing my body to, you know, meet someone. I don't like casual sex, and I'm not knocking anyone who does it. I don't want to do it because.
Can we talk about it? I don't like casual sex either. I think it's awful. It's the worst thing that was ever created. It's awful. It's awful. It's awful. It's awful. And you know, it's so crazy. I remember when I was a virgin and people tried to make it seem like, oh, you're missing out. You're missing out. You're missing. They lying. They lying. They lying. And then I think maybe casual sex back in the day wasn't that bad. And hear me out. Let me cook a little bit. Maybe casual sex back in the day wasn't that bad because men knew how to do foreplay. But I think the reason why casual sex is so awful is because the men don't know how to do foreplay. They watching too much porn. They think that they could just come in and just and that's supposed to be satisfying. That it's awful. It's awful. Like I think the way these men are putting it down today in 2026, I think it's making me asexual. I can go without it. It's an awful experience. And then as a woman, you know, you're playing what is it called? Russian roulette, where it's like you don't know what you're gonna get. So it ain't even worth all the damn trouble. It's too much work. It's too much work.
Because I like relational things. I like to be in relationship. I like you to be able to say this is yours. I don't like limitations. I want to be easily slutted out in freedom. I don't want to do that again with someone who can't respect, you know, my mental space my peace, my emotions, and create a safe space for me, that's casual.
Wait, so you're saying you're not having sex before marriage?
No.
You're the
Well,
other
I'm
one.
not a virgin, obviously.
That's what
Right, I'm not a virgin, obviously. No, it was like, what's going on here, God? It was like, wait, I think I know someone who took it down. I'm like, girl, don't be on here telling my business. I obviously have, fornicated, not obviously, but yes, I have. For me, we have to be exclusive.
I feel like if you're a spiritual woman and when I say you're a spiritual woman, I'm saying like you're spiritually sensitive, right? You have spiritual gifts and things like that. Casual sex is not for us. It's not. Men siphon our energy. We lose our power in the process. You're not as strong as you are, and your gifts are not as strong as they were. And it's just not a great experience for us. I'm not saying that's for all women, but I'm particularly talking to the spiritually sensitive and the spiritually gifted. Casual sex is not for us. It's not. I also see how there's a transference where the man gets all of your power and you have nothing. That's what casual sex does to us. So we're not as creative. We're not as optimistic. We just lose our power. I don't know how to explain it. We just really lose our power. So if you're spiritually gifted and you're spiritually sensitive, it's casual sex is just not for us. Transactional sex is not for us either because it's not a fair exchange. It's never a fair exchange. I have seen men take my energy and make money with it. I have seen them take my energy and start businesses with it. I have seen them take my energy and just literally take it, and then I have nothing. And it's because in the casual space of the sexual act, right? I'm not getting anything from it. He's getting everything. And so I'm left with nothing to go off of for myself. But he's doing very well in life, career-wise, financially. Everything is going so well. And everything is regressing with me. So to the spiritual sensitive girlies that are spiritually gifted, you know what I'm talking about. You have dreams. You know things that you shouldn't know without being told. The sensitivity girls. Casual sex is not for you. I'm sorry. It's just not. I'm sorry. We're not even as psychic as we were before. Like it just strips us of our power. It just does. I don't know why, but it just does. And then to get our power back, you gotta do so much work. You gotta do so many cleanses. And then it's nonstop. Like to call your power back, like you have to do so much. It's not worth it to me. It's too much work. It's too much work. And that's the thing. Finding someone to marry is just not gonna be an easy experience for you either, because you can't just marry anybody. You have to marry someone that is going to give you that fair exchange. So that means you would have to marry someone that's also just as spiritually gifted as you. And there are men out here that are just as spiritually gifted as some women. It's just you're not going to easily find that. And the reason you're not going to easily find that is to be spiritually gifted, a man has to be in tune with his feminine side. And we live in a culture where they're told not to, or they're taught not to, or it's looked down upon. So it's just going to be harder to find. That's all. You're going to have to be very, very, very selective. Very selective.
Exclusively committed. There has to be a reciprocal safe space between both of us. There has to be access that has been given. I'm not asking or forcing you to give me access to you as a man, meaning your password to your phone, or if we are already in the place of being intimate, if I'm at your home, then a key to your home. But these are all things that a man moves on his own notion to give you these things that say, I'm giving you these things not because you asked me, not because I have to. I want to. I want you to feel safe. I want you to feel covered. You can trust me. You can access me, because as a man, I want to be able to access you. Fair exchange is not a robbery. And our bodies are not an even exchange for no cell phone or a key, but it does help us know mentally and emotionally that we are at peace because you have nothing to hide. The most nudist we can be is not in our body. It is definitely in our heart. And the Bible says, at all things that you guard your heart.
Yeah.
And so you're going to access the hell out of me before you think you're going to slut me out.
What would you say to the people that feel like if you are someone who has all the answers?
Well, people have said that, so keep it 100.
If
they
you
have
are
said
someone
that.
who has all of the answers.
What's up with the slutting out?
Answers. Why are you not with a man? Why are you not happily married and riding off into the sunset in your horse and carriage and your children that you desire?
Love that. One, I don't have all the answers. I only have the answers that my life has allowed me to use in my own life that has caused absolutely amazing results, not perfect ones. I still have my moments, where I can, feel a certain way. I just regulate well. I still have moments where the little girl in me is like, who the fuck you talking to? I just manage her little ass. I have a conversation with her. We process before we produce together. I might still have moments where I'm sure
Listen, I'm gonna answer the question. I'm gonna answer the question. Okay, why am I not married? Why am I not running off in the sunset and with kids and all of this shit? Right? Because that's what we all want, right? Which I don't know if I want those things. I'm just being honest because it's too much going on in the world. But what I will say is the reason why I don't have it is because it's hard to find a man with integrity, y'all. It's hard to find that, and it's hard to find a emotionally readily available man that wants to pour into you and support you emotionally, not just transactionally, and not just. And it's so crazy because men are always complaining about women only use men for their wallets. But it's like, if y'all only knew the amount of men that I attract that lead with their wallet when it comes to reeling me in. And I don't always trust that, because some men do the whole bait and switch where they reel you in with the wallet and then they become very stingy. And you have to watch that, because I've had that experience too, where they reel you in with the wallet and they become very stingy. I'm like, wait a minute, you used to be so generous. That was love bomb. That was like love bombing. So you have to be careful about that. So now I question men that lead with their wallet. Like, are you just doing that to bait me, to reel me in, to then later do the whole bait and switch? So now I look for certain things, because integrity is the top of the list, because a man will do right by you when he's wrong, and he will do right by you when he's right. And somewhere where he falls short or in between. So that means if he makes a mistake, he's still going to do right by you in the middle or in the midst of that mistake. He's not going to not take accountability, shift the blame. He has integrity where he has a conscience where he's not going to do you like that. So that means that he's not perfect, but he does have integrity. And that is very hard to find. Also, what else is hard to find? No integrity. Oh, men don't know how to intellectually stimulate. They don't read books. They don't. I don't know what they do. Do they play? I don't know what the, it's kind of hard to, because I don't want to talk about celebrity gossip. I want to talk about case studies. I want to talk about different books. I want to talk about conspiracy theories. I want to talk about what's going on in the world. I want to talk about the world news. I don't want to talk about just trendy topics and things like that. I want to talk about spirituality, consciousness. They don't read. So it's hard to have conversations with them. And I can't be with no dummy, y'all, and I can't have dumb kids, and that's what it just, I have standards. So it's just it's very hard. I don't know. It's like men don't put in the work to have substance to attract a woman in a real way. So they revert to their wallets a lot. That's what I've been experiencing. They revert to their wallets because they really don't have intellect. They don't know how to hold a conversation with you. And I used to think that maybe it was because they were nervous. But even when you get past the nervousness, nothing. Nothing. There's nothing there. So I'm just like, well, damn. And when you're a woman that's not just looking for a transaction, like you're actually looking for substance, and then you get there and you're like, there's nothing beyond all of this, do you just be like, well, what the fucking point was this? So it just, and then it also gets to a point where you just get tired of putting yourself out there and you keep having the same experiences. You just get drained. And I don't feel like dating is supposed to be this hard either. I don't feel like finding someone is supposed to be that this damn difficult, y'all. I don't. I think it comes down to luck, right time, right place, right person. And I'm gonna just be real. I haven't had luck with that. I have not had luck with that. And I think there's a lot of women out here that just haven't had that type of luck in love. And I'm talking about, not, it's easy to get the man with the money and get the man that looks good on paper, but to have substance and to have something real with someone, that is very hard to find. Hell, it's hard to find in friendship. So it's just going to be hard to find all around. And you can't beat yourself up for that if you know you're looking for something real. And if you're looking for something real in friendship, you're looking for something real in a spouse or a partner, it's just going to be harder to find. It's gonna be, and I've been blessed with a soulmate. I consider my best friend a soulmate. I've been friends with her for 20 something years now. And that is a relationship that took a lot of growth and transformation. But I'm blessed to be able to say I do have that. But I haven't been able to find many solid, real relationships like that outside of her, to be honest. But at least I can say I have that. I have something real with a friend.
Anxious attachment might inflame. But I learned to manage that, or I've matured enough to have a conversation with you about it as my partner. So to answer your question, I don't have all the answers. I'm not perfect. I purposely said that I want to wait. I literally never sat Kayla and prayed, I just want to be married, send me anything. Yeah. And I've always loved relationships, but that has always been something easy for me to obtain. And that is not the thing that was first on my list as a little girl. I wasn't in a white dress walking down an aisle.
Me
at all. And so for me, I want.
And that's another thing that I've kind of been unpacking is the whole concept of marriage, and if it's traditional, if the marriage in the traditional sense is truly for me. I don't know. And my biggest hang up with it is I need space and I need lots of it. I'm not the clingy type. And when it comes to motherhood and marriage, there's no space. There's this constant pull of your energy, and I just don't know if I can do that. Early motherhood, constant pouring. And then I've been meaning to react to this video of this show that's kind of going viral. And this woman, she just had a baby. Just had a baby. And this man is basically complaining that he feels like he doesn't get enough attention from her. And so it just has me looking at marriage through a real lens that I don't know if I can be all of those things for my children and a man. And that's just me being real as hell, because I need so much space for myself to function well. Like to be emotionally grounded, to be emotionally sound, to be mentally grounded, and to be mentally sound. I don't know if I can have a man pulling on me like that and a child pulling on me like that and somehow still show up for myself. I don't know if I have it in me, y'all. And that's just something I've just been real about. I just like, I don't know if I can do it. And I see women that push through and they show up, and whoo, it just seems so exhausting. And I just don't know if I can handle that. And that's just me being real. I'm not looking at the wedding dress. I don't care about the ring. I don't care about none of that shit. Can I deal with that on a daily basis, a day-to-day basis, an hour-to-hour basis? And then will I carry guilt because I just had a baby and now my man is telling me that he's not getting enough attention and time for me, even though he impregnated me and we have a baby? Like, that's crazy. And so sometimes I feel like I don't know if it's me or if it's the lack of maturity that is required of a man to truly be understanding of you as a woman in marriage. Because how does a spouse not know that if you just had a baby, that you're going to have to attend to that child in ways that you're not going to be able to pour into them right now in this early stage of motherhood in the way that you were before the child came? I just feel like that maturity level is not there for most men. And that's why I'm just like, I'm thinking about myself and I'm protecting myself in that way because I'm seeing that. And I'm just like, men dream of having a family, having kids, and having a legacy. But I'm like, do you understand the level of maturity that is required of you as a father, as a husband, especially when you start to have kids? And then I oftentimes see kids get blamed for why marriages are ruined. But I'm just like, is it that kids are the ones to truly blame? Or was it that the expectations and the standards weren't realistic before having kids? You're not going to be able to spend that quality time with your spouse that you were before. The more kids you add on, the more it's going to take away from that quality time. And I just feel like that's just part of marriage and having kids. But I feel like men, they have their fantasy when it comes to them having a family. And I just don't think it's realistic at all. I don't think it's realistic at all. And I'm a realistic type of person. So I don't see it. I don't see it. It seems like everything is kind of put on the woman and she's just supposed to show up and be everything. And I just don't like that. And I don't feel like that's fair.
wanted to reach the exact pinnacle that I reached in my life. I had a plan. Like the Bible says, I had a vision and it was plain, and that's why I was able to actualize it. And when God delivered his will, which is what I'm in now, I said, okay, God, now I'm ready to be married. And now that I said that, it's been probably about 2 years now that I've said, maybe about a year. I think about a year and a half that I said, God, I'm ready. Let's rock and roll. I'm like, okay, well, on your time. What that did for me though, Kayla, is it made it to where I'm vertical in who I am. I'm not choosing or, responding from a desperate place.
Or scarcity or
scarcity. I'm not out here.
A ticking time bomb or a clock. Right.
And I'm happy I waited because, women, you guys can agree or not, and I'm okay with that, or you can be in denial or not, I'm okay with that. But majority of the folks, men and women who started early, including my parents, including friends that I talked to, most have said, I wish I would have waited like you, Shy. I wish I would have waited to have my kids. I wish I would have went and got a career or went and traveled or whatever I wanted to do.
Absolutely. I'm glad I waited as well, because I know myself well enough to know that getting married and having kids, that's not no walk in the park. And I know myself well enough to know that I need a lot of space, because if I don't get the space, I get irritated. I get really irritated. I get a nasty ass attitude. I have a short ass temper, and I'm not a nice person. Like, that's just me being real. And I don't have a lot of patience when I get like that. When I need space, I need to retreat, and I can't retreat because I'm expected to show up and to be everything for everyone and to be there emotionally available so that I can pour into everybody else and not myself. I'm not going to be happy. I'm not going to be happy at all. I'm probably going to be a bitch. I'm just being real with you. I'm going to be a bitch. And see, if I was younger and I fell for the whole fantasy of the wedding and all of that bullshit and the ring and the kids and the white picket fence and shit, I would be fucked right now. Probably in a pantry crying, and I got kids outside of the pantry calling mommy, 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 mommy. And then I got a man asking me, did you call the doctor's office and set that appointment? I don't have time. Like, I know myself well enough to know, like, I don't know. It seems like it's a lot. It seems like it is a lot. So, I don't know if I have it in me. Then that's just me being real.
To do and have my kids at a much later age, because in that later age, you are in a more calmness. You do have more awareness. You have more to offer your kids, even economically. There isn't such a struggle. By the time you're my age, you got a fucking village of people to help you raise your kids, whether they're mothers or not. I have a village. Not that I didn't before, but I have a village now who is not at supper club at 2 a.m. like we were. I know I was hanging out having a good time while I was engaged. Me and my fiance were turning up having a great time. So I'm always grateful, and I'll land on this. I'm always so grateful that God, because everyone didn't get this grace that I got, God gave me the grace to allow me to really fulfill a life that I wanted and be able to say, now I'm ready when I'm ready. So now it's just about seeing who the heck he sends this way. And I'm excited.
Do we have like a checklist of things that you would like him to look like, sound like, feel like?
I only have one non-negotiable, and that's a man with kids. That's my only non-negotiable.
Hold on, time out, because I know you showed me the time, but this could maybe be a bonus part of the episode because we have to get into this. Do you have time?
Come on.
Y'all, this is what I'm talking about. And when I saw this, I was like, yeah, I don't know if this is, I don't know if the whole marriage traditionally, I don't know if that's for me. It's called the reality show is called The Valley. I've never heard of it. I've never watched it, but I saw this clip and I said, yeah, I don't know.
Nia, they have been getting ready for the last 20 minutes. We're here to win.
I know. Baby, I had to put the baby down.
You're here to win.
Yes.
I'm here to win.
I'm doing my best.
Do you know what you're doing here?
I feel like you're being really critical and it's really hard for me to function.
No, it's not.
Okay, shirt off. Let's go.
You are in charge. So be in charge.
I'm trying. Pants or shirt off, please.
This is your project.
I need you to stop being critical of me. It's really hard to function.
As I should. It's a competition. I don't lose. I know Nia put this all together. She's dealing with the baby. She has a lot of plates spinning in the air. But at the same time, I'm pretty frustrated. What do you want?
I'm trying to get you ready. Take your clothes off and get this on.
I feel like I'm not getting the attention that everyone else is getting. I feel like not enough thought was going into it. What is this?
It's a sparkly dress.
It's not even form-fitting. And the only reason we flew Lena out to watch the baby is so that I can have fun alone with my wife.
Do you want full face of makeup?
Why are you asking me?
Because we're partners, Daniel.
It's stuff like that where I'm like, yeah, I don't know if that's for me. Got time for that. The hell? I may do a full breakdown on that because I saw that. I said, and he's treating her so mean because he's not getting enough attention. That sounds like a toddler. That's what toddlers do. When they not getting enough attention, they start to act out. And that's what he's doing, but he's doing it as a man, and then he's doing it as if he didn't impregnate her and they just had a baby. Why are you doing that to that lady like that? That's that whole trad wife stuff too. That's that trad wife stuff, that conservative trad wife stuff. Listen, I'm just like, yeah, no, I can't do that. That's crazy.
Oh, girl,
Okay.
let's cook.
I've gone above and beyond to make sure that I don't have a child out of wedlock because I don't want to be a single mother. I've seen that up close. And that's not a life that I wanted for myself. And it's no shade, no tea to anyone that chose that life. But for me personally, I've gone above and beyond to not entertain that. So I do understand the perspective of,
Did I miss that?
I don't have children. I don't want you to have children. But I also feel though, as someone who comes from a blended family, I've seen the beauty of, and I have been a direct beneficiary of a man who saw me and loved me.
You're referring to your
my
stepfather.
stepdad, who loved me as his own flesh and blood.
That's crazy. My daddy would have me looking at the yellow pages. Yeah, I just don't know if I can do that.
Who, stood in. My dad has always been a part of.
And then it's so crazy. There's such an imbalance in the home to where if there's a daughter, the first daughter, I'm the first daughter. I'm the only daughter. So everything falls on my shoulders if my mother falls short in an area. And so we have to pick up the slack. So I'm just like, and then when you have the eldest daughter, oldest daughter, only daughter experience, you are really slow to creating a family and having kids because you already had to kind of somewhat play that role already. And it's a lot. You had to play that role for the younger kids. You had to play that role for the extended family and the younger kids. It's a lot. You were a part of the village before you even had a choice. So it's just, yeah. So I don't know if I want to rush back into that. It just seems like I already know how much it is, but I feel like so much more would be put on to me. And I just I don't know if I can like deal with that. And then you know how you're the first daughter, and when you come into town, everyone straightens up. Oh, she's in town, we must behave. And it's just like, I didn't ask for this. Like, y'all put me in that position and I showed up and I was dependable. So now it just, when you get older, then it's like everyone is afraid to tell you certain things because of what you're going to say or how you're going to react, because you tend to take on that role as the parental figure or the responsible one or the dependable one. It's just, listen, I want to just relax sometimes too. It's just crazy.
Part of my life, but he came into my life and was like, I'll teach you how to ride a bike. I'll take you to your first day of school.
Yeah.
Was there for prom, was there for the heartbreaks. He's been a really instrumental part
fundamental
of my life.
piece of your life. Yeah.
Absolutely. So it's hard for me to say, after experiencing such a pure, true love, that I wouldn't accept another man because they had a child. Because what if he checks all the boxes? What if he's so good and so perfect and so emotionally intelligent? I can say that.
I love
me. Just because he has a kid, we're not gonna.
I love. What if he checks all the boxes? How can he check all the boxes if the main non-negotiable box is no?
Listen, I don't have boxes. I don't have boxes. When you create boxes, men mirror and they fit into those boxes and they just mirror back what your boxes are. I don't have boxes. Okay. And when you choose, hopefully by the time you choose, you have built up that self-trust relationship that I talked about earlier, where your discernment, which is a spiritual experience, you have built up that relationship with self through self-trust. And when you have that discerning experience, which is a spiritual experience, you'll know. But boxes, men perform, they mirror, they do a lot of Oscar worthy, Emmy worthy performances. So you can't really go off of that. I try to keep it simple, clean, and straight to the point. Integrity, emotional availability, emotional intelligence, and the last thing is financially stable. And I shouldn't have to downgrade my life to fit into your world. That's crazy. So I don't like that. But financial stability is huge. Financial stability that I'm looking for is, do you manage money well? Like, you can have all the money, but you can lose it tomorrow. If you don't manage it well, that's not financially stable to me either. So that's what I typically look for. But I don't, all them other boxes, you probably not even, I'm gonna be real with you, you probably not gonna get to all those boxes anyway, because most men don't meet those basic requirements. So, or standards. So it is what it is.
Kids.
But why
So
is that?
if you
Why?
have a child, that means you already don't check all the boxes, because the only box I need you to check
Okay.
is having no kids. Now,
Wait, let's unpack it.
let's unpack it. But I want to say
What?
something else, because
Okay.
I agree with you. I'm the oldest of 7.
Yeah.
My dad has 6 by 5 women. We are a blended family.
Okay.
Most of my siblings call my mother mom, and my sister, who goes on massage dates and stays the night with my mom, she calls her mom. My mom cooks and cleans. My mom treats her the same way she treats me.
Mhm.
That's her mom.
Yeah.
Because my sister and her mom, they don't have the closest relationship, right? So that's mom for her. I share my mama with all of them, and I love it.
Mhm.
So I agree with you. The blendedness for me has worked. I love them. I tell my dad, I don't like that we're all by different women, but I love that you go all of us. However, because I was also a product of seeing how blended families blend, but there's also so much brokenness in them. One thing being everyone's in different households. The second thing being that there are a variety of different parents. It's a very much a polyamorous setting, a very much a polyamorous dynamic, because we're all family, not polygamy, meaning anyone's having sex. Let me clear this up. Doesn't mean that the father is still sleeping with the baby mama or vice versa. All that means is we do have to operate as a family if we are going to be healthy. And we do. But it's very polyamorous. All the mamas talk and get along. Everybody's in the same household. And when I seen that, I thought, not a motherfucking chance. I don't want to have any of this environment. I have no interest in sitting in a room with you and you have a child with my husband. When I say my husband, Kayla, that is my husband. That is my children's father. You have nothing to do with this man. And the only thing you should have to do with him is if you're in here as an associate, a friend, or someone we're doing business with, and you guys say hello and hi and have a conversation. Anything past that, I don't need you calling his phone. I don't need you involved with him. And guess what? Me and him can have our own family. And I can co-parent with him, even to the point where if we had a child or two, and God forbid it doesn't work, because I'm also not exempt from divorce. I'm not exempt from none of this shit. I'm not perfect. And say we both weren't married at that time, and I said I want other kids, I will call him and say, baby, run it back. Because I want all my kids with one man. That
I would just rather go to the sperm bank, y'all. If I get bit with a bug and I'm poisoned and I have this dire need to just have a child, right? And there's no man around me that I feel like I want to do that with, I'm going to the sperm bank. I'm just letting y'all know right now. I'm going right to the sperm bank. I'm gonna pick out that man. I'm probably gonna vet different men based off of their genetics, their family history. I'm gonna pull a Ebony K. Williams because I don't want to deal with the whole co-parenting stuff. I don't want to deal with that. It's awful. I hate it. I've seen it up close. I don't like how you pull the child from this home, that home. You try to discipline the child. The child is used to getting away with things in the other home. And then you got the child in your home, the child not listening. I'm not dealing with that. I'm going right to the sperm bank and I'm going to pick out the guy based off of the paperwork. And that's what I'm doing. I'm not doing this. Men are talking about, oh, well, women need to procreate. The birth rates are down. Well, I'm going to the sperm bank because I'm not dealing with a grown ass man and everything that comes with that. I'll sign the paperwork. I'll get a man that signed his rights away because I'm not dealing with that. I don't want to deal with it. It's just too much. Co-parenting, y'all, up front. It's just I see the behavioral issues in children, and I don't like it. I see the impact that it has on them emotionally, even when both parents are present. I don't like it. 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 So I'm just letting y'all know. I'm gonna go straight to that sperm bank.
that is very important for the legacy and the generational wealth of family that I am building. Family is very important to me. I'm building a compound right now in my Los Angeles home on our huge lot because family is that important to me.
Basically.
So if I have,
Hold on, wait.
go ahead.
Hold on.
Hit
'Cause
it,
I'm
hit
just
it.
thinking. I'm just thinking.
Well, your mind is going. Spit it out, girl.
I'm just thinking.
And
about-
I've been with a man. So I've been with a man. My ex-fiance had 2
Yes.
adult girls. No baby mama drama. So I have experienced it. I'm not speaking from a place of not experiencing it.
Oh, you're saying no more. I dealt with it and I didn't like it.
No. So to his defense, right? There was no drama. He handled it perfectly. The girls and I and him would have, we hung out together. We did everything together. Even his daughter and I still talked after I called off the wedding. So
Because the reason I believe in selective breeding. Some of these men you don't need to be breeding with. They have behavioral problems. Your child will have behavioral problems. When I say genetics, that's what I'm looking for. I want to know your family history. I want to know if you had any behavioral problems within your family history. All of that is important. Some of these men don't need to be procreated with. Do you see how they be acting? Some of them be acting like sassy toddlers. They be acting like sassy little toddlers. And then for the first time, I talked to my older brother yesterday. He said, these men they're sassy. I said, they are? He said, yeah, they're sassy. I said, I call them sassy toddlers. He was like, no, they really are sassy. And I'm like, Girl, it's bad when the men are calling these men sassy. I said, what kind of experiences are you having out in the world? They started to experience what we talking about.
I want to make sure I make it very clear that he did everything right by prioritizing me. He made me first, even before the girls, because that's a hierarchy. But I also made sure that I made the kids a priority in all that we could do within my capacity, since I was number one with him.
Yeah.
And it wasn't his kids.
Ooh, it's scary.
I always referred to us as a family.
Yeah.
However, once I left that, I understood that that is not the dynamic that I want. Not because they did anything wrong, because my value system still was not settled, even in that family dynamic, because it's not about them. It's about me and my value system. See, some women will say, I don't want a man with kids because a man with kids is this kind of guy. I'm saying, I'm sure, ladies, there's a lot of great men out there with kids because I know them. I've met them. They're just maybe your husbands. They're not mine.
God feels like we have plans, and then he laughs.
Oh, he always does.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm not putting that on you. I wouldn't wish that on you. I just know that.
But yes,
perspective is shaped by experience, and inexperience. I have experienced the beauty of a blended family. If that's not your ministry, I completely understand.
No, I have to. I just don't want to. I don't want to recreate that when I know that I don't have to.
Absolutely.
Like you don't have any kids.
Well, I hope that you get them eggs fertilized ASAP. Okay.
You heard her, God.
Took
You
her
heard her, God.
Give it to her. Give her that baby child. Okay, so we're gonna get into the game plan segment. This is a little advice column for the girlies. So today's game plan question is: if you could strip away all of the labels and all of the therapy talk that we often see online, what is one truth about relationships and healing that people need to accept?
That every relationship has some level of toxicity. To expect a relationship not to is unrealistic.
I agree.
And if you keep looking for somebody who's completely healed, you will always be the bridesmaid, not the bride. Or you will be the best man and not the groom.
What's wrong with being the bridesmaid at the wedding?
And expect people to be human and realize that marriage and relationships is a service position. And it is about how much you can serve each other than it is about how much you can be served in that relationship. So don't go into it thinking that it is kumbaya. It does take work. And there are going to be potholes. And it's not about who was driving when you hit the pothole. It's about who all was in the car when the car and the tire hit the pothole.
Like, this is the thing that I need women to understand. The reason why marriage is not a joke is because you literally are becoming spiritually one with a person. And if you know how much work it takes for you to work on yourself, think about doing that type of work with another person. That's why marriage takes work. Because now you got to sort out two different people, your feelings, their feelings. You have to consider their feelings. You have to consider their emotions. You have to consider their wants. You have to consider their desires. You have to see how that fits in with yours. There's so much that goes into it. And it's just not the wedding. It's not the ring. And then there's life and the conflict that comes with that sometimes. There's grief that comes with life sometimes. And sometimes grief, it's not always death. Like sometimes it's endings, it's change, it's things just looking different. And you got to be prepared to go through it with that person on all fronts when it comes to those many different changes that tend to happen just by living life. It don't even have to be that person is being necessarily toxic. It could just be that life is lifing. And you got a life with them while also working through and identifying how you feel, your emotions, how you change. Change is huge. The person you marry, the day you get married, is not the person that is probably going to be in that marriage with you, because so much change can happen. So it's a lot. It's a lot.
Because then you have an entirety of people who are solving a problem outside the car, not people in the car going, but you were driving.
Oof.
That's irrelevant. We both in this thing together. So how are we going to fix the tire so we can get where we were going? That is the mindset of marriage.
Oh, girl, your lipstick is beautiful. Hold on, let me blow that up. Y'all see it? Beautiful face quarter, not declining. Okay, Miss Capricorn Moon Goddess, I see you out here. What lipstick color is that? That's cute.
Marriage. That is the mindset of a healthy relationship. If you don't got that, then you're still in preparation mode and you are in your wilderness on your way to the promised land.
So many bars today.
Ooh, girl.
Also in your book. Can you please let the people know where they can get your book and support you?
Y'all, listen, Live Your Promise is now available everywhere on all platforms where books and audio books are sold. Go to Amazon, Barnes & Noble. Y'all made Mentally Talks my first book a #1 bestseller. Run the numbers up, y'all. Go get this book so that you can have the tools on how to live your promise. I love y'all.
Now listen, the crazy thing about me is I'm open to her, and when it comes to a redemption, like I'm open to it, because people make mistakes, and I believe that there could be a redemption for her. I mean, if it was a man, there would be. But I can't support someone that's not being true. Like, I can't support someone that's not being ethical. I can't support someone that's not in their integrity. I just can't support it. But if she were to come out and she were to say, you know what, I shouldn't have misled people in that way, cool, I'm gonna let it go. But if she wants to keep running from the accountability while going on podcasts and holding everybody else accountable, they're not gonna let it go. They're not gonna let it go. If it was a man and he owned up to his wrongdoings, hell, these men don't even have to own up to their wrongdoings, and they are forgiven and things like that. I personally, based off of my own morals and standards, I can't stand behind someone that is preaching accountability and all of this stuff, responsibility and all of this stuff, and can't be accountable when it comes to their own behavior and choices and how they chose to show up. And then I can't rub elbows with someone that's showing signs that they don't have integrity. I just can't do it. But I'm not going to hold it against her for dear life and all of that. If she were to come out and take accountability and just own up to the fact that she was misleading, I'm going to let it go. And I'm willing to give her a second chance. But listen, she going to have to correct this. That's all I'm saying. And I feel like that's fair. I feel like that's fair. I feel like that's respecting other people that have put in the work to earn their doctorate degree, to earn that. I mean, there's a lot of work that goes into that. There's a lot of schooling that goes into that. And I don't feel like we should take away from people that put into that work, that put that work in, that put in the sacrifices, the blood, the sweat and tears, the burning of the, what my daddy call it? He say, burning the midnight oil. I mean, there's people out here that worked their ass off, busted their ass. Some of them worked multiple jobs, took care of kids, and still earned that title. You're stripping people of that when you don't want to hold someone that was misleading in that way. That's not right, y'all. And I'm all about fairness. So if she owns it and she apologizes and she takes accountability, like I said, I'm gonna let it go. And I hope the internet lets it go. But the internet don't forget. But I'm saying I'm gonna let it go. So let me know what you think. Also, let me know what you would like for me to react to. Like I said, Heather Sanders, y'all want me to do that next? Because, girl, are y'all seeing the situation with Heather Sanders? Every time I see a podcast episode of her go viral with that man of hers, the saxophones be getting loud as hell. And she just be like, and then I saw the episode where she did with Young Miami, and Young Miami was giving her advice. And I was like, oh, she down bad. She down bad. Let me know what you think. Let me know if I should do that next. And I hope to see you in my next one. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all's night. Wait a minute.
This is my opinion. I'm free to state my opinion anytime I like, right? Thank you.
I don't want you to feel like that, but yeah, feel like that.
This is my opinion. I'm free to state my opinion anytime I like, right? Thank you.
I don't want you to feel like that, but yeah, feel like that.